Okay. And hello, everyone. If anybody's here, hello. Okay, here we go. So we're starting off. Okay, it might take a minute. Oh, there's Tau Zero. Hey, what's up? What's up, Keith? The spirit. Yes, the spirit. I'll pull it down just a little bit so we can get this in there. This took a little finagling, thanks to Jake, to show me how to do this, because I was like, there was definitely some difficulties, and so I've done. Well, I guess we should not get too crazy before it gets rolling. I was like, go right into it like it's a regular video. Like, okay, we got to hurry.
Speed this up. We're on the clock. Yeah, 31 minutes here, then we got to take our break.
Somebody's already clicked off. It's like, oh, they had to explain themselves in 30 seconds. I'm out. Jackie, what's up? How's it going? Yeah, so I don't know. It was just I got Levi to come with me. He agreed. He has the channel, the Outlaw Levi Wallace, and I love too that this picture I got to put your face on this guy's face for the thumbnail. That was a lot of fun. I was like, okay.
Suitable. I would have preferred to have been the spirit, but you take what you can get.
It's true. I felt like that might have been like putting it made it a little too obscure. People are like, I don't know what's going on with this picture.
Something's not right here. This I can't piece it together. Something doesn't look quite right.
Hey, Costas, what's up? How's it going? Yeah, so we were just kind of I've made a couple. I did another spirit where I just like flipped through it real fast, and you're like, oh hey, this is this, and you had like a really cool factoid, and in my head I was like, Levi is the spirit expert.
That's like that one anecdote I shared is about 50% of what I know about
so much.
Yeah.
So I see like this. I see these like hanging around in my house. I have a couple. I bought a stack of them because I love the spirit, and I would see them and I'd be like, man, I want to do a video called "That's the Spirit," and then it was like I gotta have Levi. I kept thinking about it, and I was looking at it the other day, and I'm like, man, I just got to do this. So anyway, that was the impetus for this.
Oh. Honestly, I'm a little bit envious because like the kitchen sink reprints are like the gold standard for spirit collecting. I mean, unless like you could get one of those like rare original newspaper copies or whatever.
Oh, but, yeah.
I keep thinking, I was like, man, it'd be really nice to like search down the kitchen sink reprints and get it. I'm like, I'm not that much of a collector. Like, I wouldn't take care of them. I'll get like trade paperbacks and stuff on the cheap,
I bought a couple hardbacks. There was like a smaller one that was like the best of the spirit, and those are okay. I thought there was a smaller one, and that one's like a big gamut. I guess we could talk about that a little bit too. But
I think I got what you're talking about here. I pulled out all my Will Eisner stuff.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So,
what's up, Jake? What's going on?
This is the best of the spirit, and this is the exact library copy that I read when I was like 8 years old. It was the first time I had read the spirit.
Oh, that is so awesome.
So they had it at a library sale one time. I'm like, yep, taking that one.
Like it's already been in my house a few times. It already knows how I smell. It's all.
I didn't get it.
Don't be scared.
This is like, it was already too sophisticated for me. Like there were stories like, I don't understand what's happening here. I need to go back to reading The Flash just to catch up on what's going on.
Yeah, and then I found I think there's a larger version of that, or I don't know if I have it down here.
Is it like an artist edition or?
No, it's just like there's one that's like 100 or 200 pages, and there's one that's like 400 pages, and it's a little bigger. I don't know if I have it. If I have it, I should. If I was prepared, I would have it, and I would say, "Look," but I'm not. So. So now I'm looking over my shoulder and saying, I don't. Oh, you know what? It'll probably be over here. Well, and I'm going to stop. So, because I don't know where it is. But yeah, so I've seen those and I like them. Well, at least the one, it depends on what it's printed like. The one that I had, which is a Dark Horse reprint, I think it's like the page is really glossy. And I don't know if you've ever read, I guess anybody who's read comics more recently, but they reprint them in like older comics in glossy paper, and like it gets like the colors become super garish.
Yeah, you gotta really work on correcting.
Yeah,
what the paper does to it.
There's I don't know if anybody else here has ever watched Comic Tropes. Yeah, which I love that I love that channel. He did a really good video about like color work and how like they purposefully turn those colors way up because they knew the newsprint would bring it way back down. But it's like when they do those reprints, they're just like, a lot of times it's on the cheap side, they're just like, whatever. And they just
because they have a color code mapped to the inks that they had used without regard to what paper's printed on.
Right. What it's all like, we had nobody like says, well, what is this going to look like? Because it's like, so it's a little garish on some of that stuff. So I think I don't remember if the Dark Horse one that I think it's Dark Horse was like that. Anyhow, but I happened to be like at a local, I picked up a couple of the kitchen sink ones at a local like antique shop or something. Somebody had some, and I was like, man, these are just so beautiful. The way it's like big, and it's the colors. Look, this one's got a color story, I think, in it. I think so. Which actually we'll get into that in a second because it's interesting who the colorist I think was. But anyway, so that's kind of, I don't know, that's my history. I've always liked the Spirit, but never really read it until like more recently. And then I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. Eisner's art is so good.
It's Will Eisner. I was thinking about this past couple of days since you had invited me on. Will Eisner has pulled the greatest scam ever in comic book publishing. He was making comic books at a time where that was not a respectable profession and getting it published in everybody's weekly newspaper so that all of New York City was reading a comic book, but then turning right around and like finding a kid on the street corner reading Superman or Batman or something, was like snubbing their nose up.
Yeah.
Like, he pulled it off with a plume. Like he made it.
Yeah. So there's some other cool stuff too. I think, so there's a huge, like complete, like they did I don't know who it was, did a complete, I think those collections, there's like a complete collection where you can get everything.
Yeah. I just have a couple of them. I think it's the archive edition.
Yeah. The archive. And some of those are like really valuable. And some of them are like, oh, there's you can get them like, oh, that's a little expensive. Some are kind of inexpensive. Well, what I learned was that for a while, he went off to, I think, World War I or two, not one, two. That would make a little more sense. He went off to war, and so someone else was drawing, but he was still writing the stories.
Yeah, so during the war years, Will Eisner got drafted, and he got put, he's essentially manager, whatever the position was called in the Army, of an outfit that made educational comics for the recruits. It's like, this is how you assemble an Abrams tank or whatever, like how to fill out a requisition form, turn in, blah, blah, all this stuff. What to do when you encounter civilians in Europe. So he was doing that, and then he may have written some during the war and mailed them into New York. I'm not sure. I know that there were a bunch of ghostwriters writing under his name, and of course other people doing the art. Manly Wade Wellman wrote maybe 7 or 8 of the stories during the wartime.
Really? I did not know that.
If you look, I don't remember all of them, but if you look, it's a bunch of guys who were ghostwriting for Will Eisner that they went on in like the 50s and 60s to make a minor name for themselves, writing science fiction and detective stories and stuff.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And the stories are usually really good in the Spirit, and and all that's good. And the art, even, it's not that the art isn't as good, or is it? Well, let's put it like this: the art when Will Eisner was not doing it isn't bad, but Eisner's art is so, to me, is like so attractive. It's like hard to be. It's like tough competition.
Eisner, through long years of practice, had like an instinctual knowledge of how a page should look like, especially for something like the Spirit, because like a Spirit is only 8 pages, but one of those is a complete splash page. So you're dealing with like 7 1/4 pages of real estate to actually get a story on its feet and moving and completed in that time. That's why like your average page of the Spirit has like between 10 and 15 panels on it, where like a normal standard comic book page is between like 3 and 6 usually. You might bump it up to like the 8 or something if you're really trying to jam it in, but the Spirit just like was dense with panels.
Yeah, and of course he wrote that book on like, what is it, sequential art. You have that? I used to have it too, but then I realized I didn't know how to draw.
What good is this? I don't know how to draw.
I was like, I don't know why I got this book. It was so over my head when I had it.
Yeah,
that I didn't know what to do with it.
Sequential art is the first one, and then he also had
graphic storytelling and visual narrative, and then the third one is expressive and anatomy for comics and narrative.
Yeah, like literally the Bibles for like becoming a comic book artist for somebody who wanted to be that but didn't have somebody to instruct them.
Yeah, it's all based off of his university lectures that he gave in Florida.
So. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. So tell me, what do you know about that? Because that's already new. See, this is why you're on here.
Well,
that's not exactly why you're on here, but this is the benefit.
Somewhere in the post-war years, like he returned to New York and was doing the Spirit for a while, and then once that wrapped up, sometime I think the Spirit ended in like 52 or 53 initially. I'm not exactly sure on that, but he decided like, that's enough. I'm going to move to Florida and semi-retire. And so he started an art studio down there where he went back to doing educational comics. He thought that was the future of comic books, and making comic books acceptable to the public was using it for educational purposes. So you can kind of like raise a generation that thinks, oh, these comic books are pretty cool. And then later they can, take it off and run with it.
Like leverage that,
because like I say, comic books have never been socially acceptable. In more recent years, yes. But like back in the day, like, I mean, we can all say like, grandparents like kind of looked down, like, is that real? You're not really reading, that kind of stuff, or just outright saying it's trash. But yeah, he moves to Florida, and while he's down there, he's got a studio going. He's looking to do a bunch of other things, and he gets invited to just give a lecture or two at the local university for art students, people maybe looking to get into advertising or regular comic books. He says, yeah, sure. And eventually it developed into a whole course he was giving, I think maybe twice a year or something. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So because I remember like just even for me, like I remember getting a Spider-Man comic one time, and there was like, I don't know what there was. There was like some monsters, or like I think it was like Spider-Man. It was like a web of Spider-Man, right? So it was like the offshoots where they got get a little crazier. They didn't have to follow the rules quite so much. And like Spider-Man had like, it was like a zombie or something on there, like something had happened. My mom was like, oh, I don't know, this looks like demon stuff or something. I was like, what? Like, this is Spider-Man, Mom. But there was still that. Like even in like the 80s, there was this impression like, oh, I don't know if those comic books are if they're okay, and I can imagine, I know even farther back it was way worse. So yeah.
It's the history of American comic books is a lot similar to the history of American film, because like when film comes out, it's like it's novel thing, and immediately people are like, oh, it's like a children's toy, it's this novel thing that'll fade away after a year and a half. Or it's just like it's evil, it's outright pornography or whatever, That same sentiment was fostered on comic books. So, later on, like, and even then there's censorship hearings in the United States Senate over movies, which led to the Hays Code.
Oh, yeah.
And then comic books in the 50s had that same thing happen to them, where they instituted the Comics Code Authority. You might, some comics like that had that stamp in the corner, Comics Code approved. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, right.
That stunted the growth creatively of comic books for decades. I mean, it didn't let up until late 80s, early 90s when everyone just decided they'd had enough of it and cast it aside almost entirely. It would take until like 2007 for the last comic to have the stamp of approval of the Comics Code Authority put on the corner. It was like an issue of Superman or something.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah. It's the worst possible thing to ever happen in comic book history was the Comics Code Authority. Like it just crippled the entire industry.
Well, and a lot of stuff like that. I mean, the other comparison I could think of that I know a little bit more about was like role playing games and Dungeons and Dragons, right? I mean, there was like this whole I remember like seeing videos, right? That said like how evil Dungeons and Dragons was. Like, and this is like in the 90s. Right. Yeah. So it's like the satanic panic is kind of over, but like still trying to get a little energy behind that so that some people would buy their videos or see it or whatever.
The 90s kind of had a satanic panic part 2, but then like stuff like Blade was popular, so it really wasn't gonna catch on in the 90s a lot. Not like it had.
Oh, by the way, hi Tim.
Hey.
Okay, yes, and Levi. This is why Levi is here. He's teaching us all. Teach me a little.
It's a magical ability I have to like degrade the quality of any camera I sit in front of. It's gotta see what I can do to a mirror. I'll crack one just right off.
Oh no. What was it? I can't even. What's weird is this camera is like right in front of my face, so I can't see the comments. Still, I highlight them. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. Yeah. I remember that there was some talk. There was even talk about like, I know this is not surprising. I know there was talk about like Harry Potter. That was witchcraft. And, you know, I mean, we've seen all that stuff. It's just so old. Like,
yeah. It comes
to me. I know, but at the time people were very earnest about him.
Yeah.
Oh,
hold on. I have that here on my show and tell. I haven't read this one yet, but I've been meaning to get around to it. Contract with God.
Oh yeah.
Who, many people say is the first graphic novel of any kind. That gets into a bit of debate because, you know, is this the first graphic novel? Was Death of Captain Marvel the first graphic novel? Like, they're just looking at like the date everything is published, but when it was worked on, what kind of format it was published in, all this sort of stuff. There is a small debate about it, but yeah, it's Contract with God. Just right off.
That's another one that I've meant to read for so long and I haven't read, but I do, it's definitely in there.
I need to, just for like its historic significance in comic book history, just because I enjoy that stuff so much, but also just because, yeah, it is quality. Like everyone who has anything to say about it says like, yes, this is good.
Yeah, for sure. That's the same thing I've heard. And the thing is that like I said, I got that sequential art book when I was young, and it was just, I thought, oh, comic books. And I opened it up, I'm like, oh, this is so over my head. I was like, I thought this book would be way more exciting. And it just, to me, at the time, I just didn't have the attention span for it or whatever.
I respect Will Eisner to the utmost degree. One, just because of his creative talents, but also because he was a guy in the Depression era making comic books for the love of the game. Mm-hmm. Now, he had to hide that a little bit because like it was not a respectable job to like comics. You could be a cartoonist for a daily comic strip in a newspaper. That was respectable. That's something you go to cocktail parties and hobnob about with that job. Yeah. Being a comic book guy, you had to hide in shame. You had to wear a bag over your head if you went on the streets, if you got recognized as a comic book guy. Will Eisner was not, like I say, he hit a little bit, but like he was a comic book guy. He believed in comic books as a medium, as an art form, as something that you could get at and excel. Yeah. And that was a rarity, honestly. I mean, you had Jack Kirby was one of those guys. I mean, just like right on his face, he's like, yes, I draw comic books. And he was the guy. Yeah. Later guys like Wallace Wood. Wallace Wood was stamping his name over every piece of artwork he possibly could in an age where that was a no-go. Other artists were not allowed to put their names on their artwork. Wallace Wood said, I'm doing it anyways. And
that's awesome.
And he got away with it. Is that because he was known for wearing a pistol under his shoulder as he walked around the art studio?
Maybe. That's awesome.
He had the gall to do it, and he had the talent to make it stick.
Somebody
unashamed of being a comic book guy in a time where like I say, you just had to bow your head in shame every time you walk down the street.
For sure. And it's hard, and we don't think about stuff like that, like how it was kind of not a respectable job. Like they would be like, oh, I just draw stuff, whatever. Or like they had to be this thing that they love, and they have to be kind of a little bit dismissive of it because they know the reception they would get. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. What's Tim saying here? Gil Kane's going to Black Mark.
I've not heard that one.
I don't think I have. Gil Kane. It sounds slightly familiar, but I have not read it.
I know Gil Kane was, I believe, on Batman during the 70s, I think. But even that, I'd have to check on. But
yeah, I don't know if I highlighted Keith's comment or not yet. I don't remember if I did this.
I mean, yeah, that's sure. a definite part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like, and I like detective fiction. I've always liked detective fiction. I wouldn't say I always liked it exactly. I was first exposed to it as I took a detective fiction college course because I just thought it'd be interesting. And then they had us read the Maltese Falcon, and I just really liked it, and there was a lot of talk about like hard-boiled detectives, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I really liked the idea of a hard-boiled detective. And then the Spirit is like a hard-boiled detective, but also like lovable and not like mean and nasty stuff, like the mean nasty stuff that usually goes along with that. It's like that's not the Spirit. But
well, he's it's a hard-boiled world, but then he's like a Sir Galahad or a Lancelot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's like this pure-hearted champion of good inside this weird Escher hard-boiled world, you know.
For sure. No, so I guess, and also if somebody doesn't know, the origin story of the Spirit is not in here, and I don't even know exactly where, if it was the very first Spirit story, if it was the origin story, if it came later. But there's like, so the Spirit originally, which is Denny
Colt.
Okay. He was like a cop, and he gets, I don't remember if he actually got killed or not, or if they thought. This is where it gets weird.
His death is sometimes played off a bit nebulous as whether or not he was actually dead. But yeah, he was either a police detective or a private detective. I forget which one for the moment. But he's on the chase of the criminal known as the Octopus. Nobody knows his real identity. They just know he's the Octopus, and he's a master of disguise. When the something goes on, the Spirit Denny Colt, he gets doused in these chemicals. He gets shot up too. He's like riddled with bullets, doused in these chemicals. Everybody thinks he's dead, and they bury him. Like literally, just put him in the ground, put a mausoleum for the Colt family, whatever.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, he comes stumbling into the commissioner's office and explains the bit of what happened. And he's like, "Don't tell anybody I'm alive. I'm gonna put on this mask and everything, and I'll make my money as a bounty hunter. So I'll go catch criminals and turn them in. You give me the reward money, and that's how I'll get by. But nobody should know that I'm alive." I don't know what the reasoning is behind that.
it's like I guess he could be a vigilante, but he can still work for the police.
I guess it allows him to like skirt the law a little bit, but like in these stories, like the law is a little bit loose, anyways, even if you are a cop. So
yeah, like it's like he's like, oh, so that way we can, but he doesn't. I mean, I guess he doesn't go always with like police, like oh, we don't have enough evidence to go and break into this guy's house, and I guess he does that, but it's not like he goes around. He's not like Batman or anything exactly. No, he doesn't quite go to that level. I don't think so. But it's just funny, and it is like, yeah, you're not sure. It's like, did he really die or not? We're not sure. It's kind of like the same thing, and he kind of works off the same energy of like the Phantom, where like the Phantom is supposed to be like he is a spirit, like he's supposed to be like the Spirit is supposed to be maybe he's a ghost or something, and the Phantom is supposed to be like a ghost, but he's not. The Phantom is something else. But yeah, so I kind of love that story is like you're not even really sure what the actual truth is.
Yeah, it's a little bit, which I mean, given like some of the really early stories are pretty much just straight crime film noir type stuff. As it went on, Will Eisner even himself made it like, yeah, at some point it was just an excuse to tell like science fiction stories and stuff. Like,
yeah, and I love that. I love that it's like, well, this week it is true, and this week it's like maybe it's not. Yeah. I kind of love that a lot, actually. Yeah. So after I really got into the Spirit, I was buying a few more and I had read a bunch. I watched the movie, and I'd never watched it before. Or maybe I don't remember it. And I watched it again or the first time, whatever it was. And I was like, I liked things about it, but I didn't like it.
That's a fair. I mean, I've been a while since I've watched it. I was a little kid when I saw it the first time, but like, yeah, that's a fair assessment.
I think it doesn't really. I like some of the silliness of it, but it just didn't. It felt like it was trying to be too much like Sin City, and it just didn't quite.
Yeah,
I like some of the graphic, like the visuals were cool, but it didn't always work, and it wasn't quite. It felt like it was trying too hard sometimes. It just didn't. It felt like it missed the spirit of the Spirit.
Yeah. Well, the director of the Spirit film, when did that come out? Like 2007 or something like that.
That sounds about
or maybe
right.
2004.
Yeah. Something there, yeah.
It was in those early 2000s. That was Frank Miller.
Yeah,
who wrote the Sin City graphic novels. So
for sure.
And it was after in the 90s. Frank Miller writes and does the artwork for Sin City. really early 2000s, Robert Rodriguez makes the Sin City movies, giving Frank Miller co-director credit because they were just essentially just filming directly the comic book panels and putting them on the screen.
Okay. Then maybe I didn't know all this. Okay, go ahead.
So then Frank Miller, like, it was a good year for Frank Miller because the same year as Sin City came out, if I remember right, 300 hit theaters, which was also a Frank
that's
Miller
right.
book.
Yeah,
So
I think you're right.
Frank Miller caught that bug and he's like, I want to do something. And he was personal friends with Will Eisner. So he's like,
well, he was a big name in comics at that point too. Yeah.
So he's like, Will Eisner, I think, had just recently died. Maybe I can't remember exactly when the date was.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want to do something. I want to do something big. I want to do something my way, something creative. I also want to do something to memorialize my friend who's just shortly passed away. So you end up with the Spirit film, which is deeply flawed, but like to look at it and as an experience, there is nothing else like it except maybe Sin City, but even that is so different than what ends up in the Spirit. Like,
I did like that they kept a lot of the humor. I mean, I could see why a lot of people wouldn't like it, but I really feel like that is an important part of the Spirit, that there's like, it can be really gritty, but it's also kind of charming and sweet in a way too. Which is kind of surprising. And that's just kind of Will Eisner's art in a way also. You know, it's just sort of like gritty and charming at the same time. Like, he can show you something really kind of like, oh, that's terrible, but you're like, but it's just so, like, you're just kind of charmed by it. I don't know. It's
specific to the man.
For sure.
So when you get to the movie, Frank Miller, who knows Will Eisner so well, like, he's going to get a lot of those points, but also the movie is specific to the man. It's specific to Frank Miller. So it's like Will Eisner by way of Frank Miller,
right?
By way of films in the 2000s. Like, it's just like this whole stack of things to bring you this one specific experience.
Yeah. And also, like, you've got like Samuel L. Jackson is such a strong personality that he kind of like him and who was the actress that like just kind of dominate? Yeah, they just kind of dominate that movie so much. They're such big personalities in that movie. It kind of took they like kind of scene stole a bit from the Spirit, which doesn't seem right. Like, the octopus should not be stealing scenes from the Spirit.
Well, it's the trouble there, because like the Spirit, at least in concept, should be, like we say, like this character nobility and virtue and all this stuff. Casting that and having a guy stand out with like this big dynamic presence, like the broad-shouldered, throwing your fist around, that's difficult to do.
It
is. That's maybe like Henry Cavill or somebody now could pull that off.
Yeah.
But like, then who really are you going to get? You know,
you need somebody. Yeah, because you need somebody kind of like lovable and charming and kind of like innocent, but also kind of tough.
Well, you need Superman without the superpowers.
Right.
A little bit, you know, not.
Yeah, you need somebody who's in between Superman and Clark Kent. You need somebody who's like kind of fits like right in between those two guys. Like he's like half dressed.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's got the phone booth open. You know what I mean?
We'll go through this real quick.
Said what up?
So sad. Oh yeah, maybe. Well, he said it twice. Yeah. Well, I mean, it really wasn't. Is that the act John? No, John Hamm. Oh, John Hamm now. Yeah, that might be a good choice, actually.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think the guy who played the Spirit did okay, but it was like he didn't have the screen presence with somebody who is like huge. Like, Samuel L. Jackson is tough competition. Like, it's it's like trying to follow Will Eisner and be the guy who draws while he's off at war. You know, it's like, well, even if you're really good, you're gonna really have a struggle here.
You gotta be hitting 100% every minute of the day.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And the other guy's just gotta do 50% and he's there. So,
what's going on? How's it going? Okay, so I guess we'll start flipping through this. So this is the issue 1 of the Spirit reprint. I've got the Spirit Jam behind it, just as a backdrop as we move it around. But
this man's living high on the hog. If he's got,
I'm telling you, I've got
Jam just as background information, just kind of pad up the stacks. You know what I mean?
Actually, these aren't. It depends if you shop it a little bit. So, like, if you try and buy, I did notice this, and I guess before we start, I will say this: if somebody gets interested in these, and these are the kitchen. This is the kitchen sink reprints of the Spirit. So these are not originals, obviously. I don't remember what the date. Oh, it says April of '74 is what it's saying in the corner there. And we'll get into this in a second. But if you're interested in finding these, if you try to buy them as one-offs, they can be pricey. If you just try to buy an issue. But if you can get people selling lots, which is what I did, I got somebody selling a lot of like 30, and it wasn't terrible. I'm not saying it was cheap. I'm just saying it wasn't terrible. So, so I've got a decent amount. I have a couple.
They only twisted the knife once when they put it
right. In. The only problem is now I got like an incomplete collection, so I need like this issue and like these 6 issues, and I'm like, now I got to find somebody to sell that. So then now I don't know if I put myself in a situation.
It happens to me. I'll buy like trade paperbacks for stuff just so I was like, in that way I'll get all the issues, right? But I got some here. It's like there's a numbering is weird on this. What happened? Like there's a jump. Like I look. And there's an issue missing from the trade. I'm like, and now I'm just like, I could get it. Do I really want to hunt it down? Like,
totally get it. It's so I'm not really sure. I'll show the back of this too, just because it's cool. I'm not really sure how. This is Bud Plant, right? This is Bud Plant. There's the Kitchen Sinks Press.
I don't know a lot about Kitchen Sink. I know about them through this mainly. That. A friend of Will Eisner's in the 70s is kind of like pushing him towards reprinting the Spirit stuff just so it doesn't get lost to time. And so like that's a little bit how this came about.
And actually, I think Bud Plant, I don't know everything about this, so I could get some of this wrong, but I think Bud Plant is just now retiring from Kitchen Sink Press. Like he's
really?
turning over. I think I just saw that he's kind of like turning it over to somebody else. But he would print like underground stuff. I don't remember how I found out about it, but at some point, when I was in high school, I saw that you could get like the Kitchen Sink Press mail you a catalog, and they would mail you these catalogs that were like the size of the Spirit issue, and it was all the pictures were tiny, but it was like all these like, what is this? Oh, here's like you want an Elric, like the White Wolf like poster or something. I'm like, oh, and it was like the picture was this big, and you're like, that looks really cool. I don't know what I'm looking at though.
Man, I wish it had it here.
Right. Yeah. You don't know what it's so hard to know. But they were so cool to look through. And so there's Bud Plant, and then there's Warren magazine. I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I know stuff that I don't know, but we're gonna flip it open here. You do get this really cool, I guess, picture of Will Eisner here. There's Denny Colt, 1940 there. It's pretty cool. And here it does talk a little bit about this on here. I don't know if anybody can read. Boy, I don't know if anybody can read that or not. I don't know if I should read all this or not, but essentially just kind of talking about like, just talking about the comic and just talking about the desire to reprint it. I think is my impression. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we'll go from that. But this is pretty cool. And so here's what I thought was kind of interesting, because there is a color. Some of this has been colored in here. And the interesting thing is that the interior color is by Rich Corbin. I don't know if that's Richard Corbin. I'm pretty sure that it might be Richard Corbin of Den fame, Den of Earth. I think it might be, but if somebody else knows, they can tell me. But yes, Elric mentioned Elrock. Well, Elrock too. Elrock.
I want Elrock.
Elrock is the 80s version of Elric, where he's like did the glam band thing, kind of like it was a short-lived career. Oh, and by the way, I just picked up Lovecraft's Cat. I just picked that up, by the way. It looks really cool. It just came in the mail the other day with Jimmy's Dark Matter too, so that was cool. Yes, they're all really good. So anyway, so here, these are the stories in here. We're just going to do a flip through, and then I think I'll skip over a couple of the stories, and we can just kind of like, then we can go back and just like actually go read through it, some of the stories. So we'll just kind of do a quick flip through, and then we'll come back and read a couple, because I don't know. So anyway, so we'll just kind of do this. I think this is the first story. I think we'll I don't know if we'll read this. We'll read this first story. So I'm just going to do a real quick show it off just a little bit. I'm not going to, because we're going to come back to this. Because I think I remember reading this one before and it was good. Although
I have that one. Hold on. What is that? Is this one called Last Trolley?
The Last Trolley, yeah.
Yeah, I got that one in my Best of Spirit book.
Oh, sweet. It's really cool. And what's interesting too is that, and I think I remember reading this, is that for spirit stories, the spirit isn't always like you said, sometimes it's just an excuse to tell another story.
Yeah.
So the spirit is like almost like a framing device for Will Eisner to say, well, I want to tell this interesting story, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love, like, you know, this stuff like this, how expressive his faces are. They're just so good, you know. I don't know. I guess I could say the same thing over and over again.
Well, that's one of the things he I mean, like I say in this stuff of his lecture material, he's got a whole book just towards the posing and what's the expressions of characters. That was the thing he always wanted to hammer home, is like, just look at a glance.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing? What does he think about?
Yeah, because already, you know, it is, and I think here we are. I think it's this far in, you know, 2-3 pages in, we finally see the spirit. I'm pretty sure
that's him in the panel 2, isn't it? With his foot against the door.
It might be.
Or not
You know,
2,
it could be. Let's go way back. I don't know. So he's there. He's in the bottom of here, the first one.
Yeah. Oh, and can we look at the splash page just a second?
Oh yeah, sure. I can actually back this up a little bit so we can get a better.
The famous and sometimes infamous spirit splash pages. This drove advertising men nuts. They hated Will Eisner for this, because every splash page was unique. Every bit of TypeScript that spells out spirit was unique for each story. And so the ad agency guys never had the spirit type font that they could use in advertising. And it drove them nuts. Because, like, you look at Superman, you have like the Superman font, all right? Like, even back then, like, yes, like the Batman letterboard, you know, like the whole bit, and like you can use that on toys and advertising, blah blah blah, whatever. The spirit had nothing. Like, you had to name the spirit, and then you just had to make it up.
Yeah, but to me, it's like one of my favorite parts is always the splash page. I absolutely love it.
They're like, always gorgeous, and like,
and it's always like a different way to incorporate.
It's always what's we're looking for, like the semi-diegetic title. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of inside the world, it's sort of outside the world. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because the first one I did, it's like it's whirlpool, and it's like it's kind of weird, but like it's in the water is like kind of wavy, and you can see the spirit kind of written in there. Made for trying to make a thumbnail on it, made it difficult.
Yeah,
because like it's
the problem everybody else was having.
I'm like, I love it, but I don't know if it's really something that it reads well on a thumbnail.
No, you can't see anything. I will tell this on myself. Like, the videos I have up now, I've been going for like a year and a half or whatever. That's how far back the ones you can see go now. In 2018, I was putting up videos, and I had one about the spirit, which the thumbnail for that was just, I just ripped the image of one of those splash pages and put it up as a thumbnail. I was like, it doesn't get better than this. And it was like the second most viewed video on the channel at that point. Like,
let's see what you say. Yes, they are. They really are. They just move you along so well. I mean, that's why he wrote the book. And we're saying hi. Yeah, and so here we've got another one, you know, like it's like the bars on a drain or something, and it's just so good.
Mm-hmm. And then the shadow of that spells out the title of the story down here.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's just so great. So this is, so this is Escape. Just kind of going through, just kind of showing it off. I could probably, you know, since we're showing it off, maybe I'll back this up. Tell me at home if this works, because it might be, instead of me sliding it around and you can't really see it, it might be better if that doesn't fall, to do it like this at first, if that's all right. But you guys let me know if you want it the other way. I'll put it back. But when we go to actually, like, we read through a story, I'll zoom back in like that. Unfortunately, it's not easy to just like press a button and make it zoom. I don't know how to do that. If I tried messing with it in the settings of the camera, but then it just stays there or something. So
And this is what I was talking about earlier, like counting the number of panels per page. It's always going to be like 8, 9, 12 panel pages. You know what I mean? Like he's stacking them up.
This is the comic version of Red Wind.
I can only hope that there is a shadow story that is Red Wind somewhere out there. Just
it took me a second. I'm glad that you should pick up on that. I'm glad that
it would.
You'll have to tell us about it. How you doing on that?
Well, I forget what week it's like week 28 or 29 or something at this point.
I'm sure you would know.
No, it's more
it's just a blur.
Yeah, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'm over the hump there. It's all smooth sailing from here. Yeah.
That's it. That's just downhill.
There's some television adaptations of Red Wind that I want to get at. But I look forward to watching. I won't watch those instead of reading the story. I'm going to read the story and also watch the things. But
yeah. Well, it is. I mean, I was watching the last video he made about it, and I was just like, "Can someone please make an intervention for Levi? We need someone to go help him.
Man needs help." Yeah.
You were just like, "Oh."
I'll stand by what I said in the video. This was a really great idea for the first 3 months. Like 3 months, 13 weeks, that first quarter of the year, it was going like a song. Week 14 on, things started to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, on my own channel, I have been reading the short story by Raymond Chandler, Red Wind, every week of the year of 2026. By the last Saturday of December, I will have read it 52 times in the space of a year. So,
and it's not a short. It's longer than a short story. You said it's closer to 20,000 words, right?
It's 18,000 words. It's like 18,356.
So it's like 2.5 short stories or something like that, roughly.
It's not
two longer ones.
Yeah, it's not super short, but it's a bit chunky of a read.
Like a novella. Why did you pick? Can I ask why you picked that particular story? Because you hadn't read it, right?
No, I wanted to choose something that I had not previously read, just because like it would be the full experience of like going through the whole gamut of initially reading it without knowing anything to reading it so much that you ostensibly should know everything. And I put out a video just asking for suggestions. And I got some good ones. I got some Ray Bradbury stories, some different things here and there. Some of it I had read, some of it I had never heard of before. And Jim from Mystery Mayhem suggested Red Wind, and I looked at it. I didn't read the story, but I looked at who had read it, what other people might have said without getting into spoilers.
Okay.
And like, yeah, good. I've been wanting to read more crime fiction anyways. Here I'm getting my feel, I guess. But no, I've been wanting to like dip into crime fiction, and I figured because I knew Raymond Chandler wrote about real places, more or less, that there is an avenue here where like, okay, I could just pivot a little bit and end up talking about like Raymond Chandler's California if I ran out of things to talk about, or in general, just like since it's closer to reality, like crime novels, like they're as separated from reality as most science fiction is, but it's a little bit closer in that aspect, that it would probably be easier to go the distance with that as opposed to a science fiction story where everything is made up. Because if it was all from imagination, there's a limit to how far I think you can go with certain things. Yeah. And just like in this experiment. Now, maybe that's not the case. Next year, I'll do it again. No. Next year, I'll pick
I think you had the right idea. Like, if I had said to do it once a month, it would have been okay.
Here's the thing. Even at that, like doing it once a month may be too much time between reads. Because like the frequency to this for those first few weeks was a part of the experience. Because it's enough to cool down a little bit, but it's not enough to completely knock everything out of your head before you've read it again. It's a very like methodical sort of step through everything.
Do you feel I just want to, before I go too far, I just wanted to point out that I know this particular comic, there's like, he's like imitating and making and kind of joking with about other comic book artists. So there's like Dick Tracy. He's here, you can see if it says Nick Stacy. There, and there's I think some Little Orphan Annie stuff in here too, like kind of referencing that stuff, and there are a couple others that I don't quite recognize, but I know that he did. There's a couple stories of Eisner that I've read where he does stuff like that. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, those would have been his contemporaries in the papers. So I mean,
Yeah.
If those are the guys he would have been going out to lunch with and meeting at dinner parties and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, and I didn't really realize this, but Little Orphan Annie was huge. It wasn't like, I know there's a movie, but like it was a big comic. Like it was like we don't even talk about it hardly anymore except for the movie, but like
Little Orphan Annie was the cartoon on the newspapers. You know what I mean? Like that was the business, and everybody else was a little bit second fiddle to that. Like Little Abner was second fiddle to that. Popeye was Popeye at this time would have just been like coming up in the game, I think. And you talk about imitation. This looks like Hal Foster, like Prince Valiant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure. And I think so. This is colored. Although this is 74. So I don't know is that what the front said? 74. It did. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just thought maybe it was like maybe there was some weird thing going on there. But I love this ad for the giant life-size Frankenstein pinup here.
Can you imagine getting that and like putting that on the back of your bedroom door or something like?
Look
and then you're just a kid. You're like, you're 10 years old. You gotta live with this thing. Just
drawn by Jack Davis. And this is like like from Raquel Welch from what movie is that?
1 Million BC or something.
That's it. It's just so great. It's crazy. Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, right on.
Was that W.C. Fields in the bottom corner? Who is that?
Yes, it is W.C. Fields. It is.
Like, what kid in 74 is buying a poster of W.C. Fields?
Yeah, some kid, right? Because this is what like probably an adult, not a kid.
Yeah. Kitchen Sink publication. Yeah, it is adults. This advertisement is probably just for nostalgia purposes, really. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like I guess you really could order it, but you could, but Bud Plant and all that stuff. There was a whole erotic section. Like there was like literally like art books of naked women. Like there was like a whole section of that like catalog, by the way. So it was not a problem for me to be getting like these catalogs are fine. They never asked me how old I was.
Don't ask, don't tell. I mean, if you can lay the money down at the newsstand, they're gonna interview you.
I better go back here. Yeah, so it's really cool, and it's cool too because it just looks so good on here. It doesn't the newspaper just brings the color, makes even the black and white looks better on this print. Wait, this isn't Thorgal. I got to do the second part of Thorgal.
I'll never stop reading Red Wind until January 1st of the new year. That's when I'll stop. Here's the crazy thing, Virgil. I know it will be a long time before I read Red Wind again after this whole experiment's wrapped up. But I can't say that I will never read it again after that. You know how crazy that sounds? It
does sound a little crazy.
I can't say to myself, no, I'm just gonna go to the end. And that'll be it. Like that's
it's good that you're not like. It's good that right now you're not finding out like I really don't like this story.
Well, the thing is, Raymond Chandler's really good.
Yeah,
is the thing. Like if the story had been bad, I would have been looking at this with dread, more dread than I have looking at it any other time. But like he's so good, and the story is so good that I do have to drag myself over to start it. But once I've started into it, I'm there. You know, like here we are again. It's like nice to meet everybody again. This week's meeting of the AA.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I wonder too if like yeah, it's true. I wondered that too when I was watching your last video. If you could recite passages at this point, I would think you would be able to some degree.
My memory is not great on like specific detail stuff like that, but like I'll have like these daydreams where I'm explaining the plot to somebody or whatever, blah blah blah, blah. And I will recite the lines of dialogue, 85% to what's actually in the book. Like in my summary, I'm saying like the dialogue pieces between the detective and all the different characters or whatever. Like there was a point, like there's an instance of like at least two addresses and a phone number being listed in the story, and I'm like, am I going to have this phone number memorized by the end? I can't recite it to you now, but that's the thing. Like by the time I'm finished, is this going to be a deal?
We'll come back and look at this color.
That looks like Cadillac and dinosaurs. That panel on the left-hand page. You know what I'm talking about?
Doesn't it look like it? Yeah, we'll come back and read this one too. What was I going to say? I was wondering if it got to the point where like you're finding that the reading of the story is like inserting itself into your daily life. Like you find yourself like recite like okay, anytime, dame, or something like that. You know, like you just kind of fall into the language by accident.
It is a curious thing because like I'm reading just slowly over time. Like I'll read another Chandler story here or there, where, and I just a couple months ago finished that biography that Tom Heine had written about Raymond Chandler, and like there's these between the short stories I've read so far, there's this weird through line of pearls in several of them. Because he's got one where this guy's on the hunt for some pearls. There's a pearl necklace in Red Wind that's a big deal for the plot, and then a story I haven't read yet. It's just called The Trouble with Pearls. So like Raymond Chandler, like whatever he had a fixation for would end up in the stories. So I think like somewhere along the way he just bought some pearls for his wife, and like that was a big deal to him.
Something, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so there's something there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, because like what was it? Like we wonder what started that, and then why it fascinated him so much.
Mm-hmm.
Vampirella. Yeah, I saw Vampirella too. There was a couple Vampirellas in here. Here's another one. It's a little hard to read this, even for me sitting in front of it. A little hard to see just because of the lines. But oh my god,
the Vampirella. I forget the names of the principal creators in the Vampirella stuff, but like that story itself is funny because she was just supposed to be like this host for this horror anthology magazine, like Tales from the Crypt type stuff.
Yep.
But then she was so much more popular than any of the stories being published that they're just like, forget about it. This book's about her now. Like,
like okay, she does this.
Forget all this other stuff. Just like make the book about her.
It's true.
I mean, like you can't argue, with the facts.
Oh, let's see what I say. What do you have?
Yeah, my little chicken.
What I have that WC feels like. Actually, if you go back and watch some of that stuff, I watched The Dentist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy. Like I was like, wow, I was kind of crazy. I'm like, man, this is a little risque here, actually. But it was also like kind of funny, like kind of really funny.
WC Fields is the funniest thing. Well, the second funniest thing I think about him is like before his big break in show business, where he started making movies and radio and all this stuff. Nobody knows anything about him because when anybody asked like for a newspaper article or whatever about his background, he would just make something up. And it was never the same story twice. It was all the time different. And so nobody knows anything about W.C. Fields before he appears in like his film career and stuff. Or like some vaudeville stuff or whatever.
There's a whole thing there. I remember because a couple months ago I got really interested because I'd always kind of been interested, and I got really interested and watched some stuff on YouTube and some other stuff. And it was kind of actually fascinating to like kind of dive into him a little bit.
I like his final words. What are reported as his final words. Like you can never really confirm this stuff. W.C. Fields had a mistress named Carlotta. And like it was like an open secret, but you really weren't supposed to bring it up. But she was around all the time, especially when he was sick and laying in bed dying. And so at one point, like these are his final words apparently of W.C. Fields. He says, "Damn the world and everyone in it. I'll accept you, Carlotta." And then he expires here.
Elvira was good too. Elvira is awesome. I watched the thing about Elvira too, and how like what's the lady there was a lady Vampira or something who's also like a TV host for horror movies who was a lot more serious.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think she came before Elvira, and she didn't like Elvira because Elvira was like silly and she was very serious. And Elvira is always like making these innuendos and jokes. I mean, actually, Elvira is always hilarious. She's like not just very attractive, right? She's also very funny. So
yeah, you gotta. How dare she? You gotta treat like Attack of the 50-foot nuclear Ant-Man with some respect. Dang it! Like you gotta.
Yeah, the whole thing about I watched some documentary about her or something like that. It was really fascinating to learn like how she started out and how at first it was okay, and then they were like, oh, we don't like how you're always doing these silly. We are being silly about it. We don't want that. This person, people didn't like it, but it's not everybody, but some people didn't. I don't know. It was really interesting to look into that.
The horror host thing, like television doesn't do it so much anymore, but like on YouTube, the horror host thing, like it's still going strong. I mean, there are channels going that like they have full costume and sets and guests come on for interviews and like the whole bit. Like it's still going.
I don't know if this would ever hit you because you're younger, but when I was young, there was on USA, there was Captain USA, and he was kind of like an Elvi. He would kind of like, he had like kind of a rinky dink sort of like Captain America costume that he would wear. And he had like a painted on mustache, like a Groucho Marx type mustache, I think. Oh, I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I want to remember there was something that seemed kind of fake about it. And he always had a cigar in his mouth, and he would, and it was actually, and he would do these. They were actually, I remember too that he did like these little hand puppets because I saw, I think he'd like draw like in his hand and be like, "What do you think was it?" Oh, I don't know. I'm like, we were so like, this is so weird, and I remember loving it so much. The back issues, the dun dun dun, innuendo right there. You look. I'll just show you that. The advertisements are always fun too.
That's another thing. Like, I don't know why I'm surprised with this, but I always am. But like, they're publishing new Vampirella comics today.
Yeah,
like, probably last month one came out, and
Dynamite I think was doing it. I don't know if that's changed or not, but they were doing a bunch.
Dynamite is a godsend. Like some of the Spirit comics that Dynamite put out, those are good. You know what I mean? Like almost I won't say all of them are because I haven't read all of them, but like the ones I have gotten at are really, really good. They had like the Spirit meets the Green Hornet, but it's the TV version of the Green Hornet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like the 60s.
I have if I could find it, I have the Spirit and Batman. Oh yeah, here it is.
Oh, I got Darwin Cook.
Yeah, I
got those too.
Yeah. This one's got some kind of a weird plastic cover on it, but I was like, well, all right. Yeah, but I think he meets Batman in these, and it's kind of one of them. It kind of reminds me of like Batman the Animated Series. I think it's when they came out. Is around that time that when Batman, or maybe it was a little later. Yeah,
Darwin Cook, he's deceased now. I think he died in early 2010s, maybe. So most of his work was done to the 90s and early 2000s and stuff. He wasn't really in comic books all that long. Most of his career was in advertising. And then it was like really late towards the very back end of the 90s that he got into comic books.
Yeah. I better. The Elvira movie is even really good.
No, Tim's not allowed to host movies anymore.
Right. I missed that. I was so bummed. The first one worked fine, but the second one, they were like, I guess they shut it down. They're like, oh, you should see it. I don't even know if I could.
Wind. They finished processing the first one. They're like, not again.
They're like, we picked up on this. This guy in Indonesia says this movie is his. You're out.
He could probably buy. Being serious here, you could probably buy the Spanish dub of a movie for really cheap, and then play that one. Because there's been a couple people I used to watch on YouTube that did that same thing. Like, I can't buy the English version. That's too much. They won't let me have that. I can buy the Spanish version because nobody's asking for it. And just play that part.
It's funny you say something like that. Is more recently I got really into the Santo movies. I don't know if you know anything about Santo. Yeah, and those are so much fun. And there's a lot of them that are good. That are like, there's no. Like I can't find if there's a dub or a translation or whatever, you can't find it, but sometimes you can find them for free on YouTube. And sometimes there was one with like these mummies or something, and like there's this curse where everyone's going to come back to life and like wrestle Santo or something like that. I guess there's something, I don't know what happens after he, because it's like this curse, he has to come back, but it's all only in Spanish. But when I first messed with it, I could let it auto translate to English. And then later on I went back and it was like, oh no, we can't do that. And I'm like, well, I don't know why. That was kind of a bummer. But I was thought like, I wonder if I could like just play that from somebody else's YouTube channel and just like, you know, like just kind of like this, just like have this big screen just be that, and just I don't know,
Mystery Science Theater, something you can't understand.
Yeah, really. I mean, honestly, you'd probably be okay, because the Santo movies all feature like a 5-minute wrestling sequence of like just of actual wrestling. And I watched a movie talking about that, and they said that because of some weird rule, they televised they had it like televised, wrestling televised in Mexico for a little while, but then they came up with some weird rule, like they didn't want that to happen because they wanted to make you buy tickets. And so for some kids, the only way they got to see wrestling was the Santo movies. So that's why all those movies have this sequence of just like wrestling. Like, I mean, yeah, it's like kind of like there might be some theme to it or something is like pertinent somehow. But a lot of times it's just like, we got to have Santo wrestling for a little while.
Well, it's like with John Carpenter's They Live, where like it's like this 15-minute stretch of the movie where Roddy Piper and who's the other guy, I forget, are just like in this back alley beating each other with 2x4s and doing the wrestling stuff.
Put on the glasses.
Yeah. It's the same bit, right? You know what I mean? Like you have this professional wrestler, let him do what he's famous for.
Yeah.
I mean, like this is what people pay tickets for.
It is great. He does a lot of like those scissor takedowns where like he comes up and like scissors their head and like flips them over. Like pretty athletic. It's great. I mean that, and then you have Santo and the Blue Demon or Blue Demon, depending on if it's dubbed or who dubbed it or whatever. But they're so good. They're so much fun. If you haven't seen it, there's one for free it's on Prime. We'll go back and read the story here in a second. There's one on Prime. It's called like The Fist of Death. It's like one of the very last Santo movies. Oh my God. It's so good. The only caveat is when you start it, it's like this lady who's like a good witch and this guy and like these like, I don't know what they are, like they're like acolytes or something in this cult, and they're like praying to this like salt rock lamp, like the pink rock, like salt rock. They're like, oh look, the special meteorite or whatever. And it's like, it's literally 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes of the movie is like that, and like this lady, and then like the evil witch, and there's like no talking either. There's like not even in Spanish. There's just like, oh, the magic meteorite, and then like silence for like another 2 minutes, and I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm watching.
Oh, that's something like that's the kind of move that I respect the heck out of doing that, but that's not something I want to sit through. You know what I mean? Like for a director or an editor or whoever to make that decision, that's like 10 minutes of silence at the start of a film.
It's just so much.
I'm all for that. Somebody else can watch it.
But the other thing is, nothing is happening, by the way, either. It's not like you're like, it's like cut to the woman. I mean, she's obviously, so this one same lady in that movie, I'm going to put this back on the desk.
This is for people who came in late to the theater.
That's right. If you came in late, really.
No one will be seated during the El Santo versus Chupacabra fight.
But right. This one lady plays both the evil witch and the good witch, right? She's very healthy, right? She's a very healthy physique, right? Is very much on display for the entirety of the movie. And it's just like basically panning back from her. And in fact, not only is that, I don't know if that one has a wrestling sequence, but it does have a 5 or maybe it's 10-minute dance sequence near the end of her, and that's all it is. There's no, she's like that's how she casts spells, is dances, and it's like this very long dance sequence. I'm like, she's just dancing at this point. This is just like a dance movie now.
She has to be like some Mexican celebrity in her own right.
She was with somebody. She was somebody. She is like objectively like gorgeous, right? She's like a very attractive person. Definitely the camera is in love with her. It is funny because like she's like
the cameraman.
And the cameraman. You can see like it's kind of funny too because she plays the good and the bad witch. And at one point those two characters are in the same scene, but they couldn't have that. So she's like a bad witch, and as the good witch, they have a stunt, like a body double turn her face, and you only get like like 3 frames or 2 frames with that with this body double, right? And you're like right away, you're like, that's not the same lady. I guess you couldn't tell it originally, but like with like higher definition, I'm like, oh no, that's not her. You're not fooling me, buddy.
I get that all the time watching old television shows like Get Smart or Wild Wild West, where there's an action scene and the stunt double comes in. Because like in the 60s, if you're watching on a screen like that big, yeah, that looks like the guy. It's a guy in a blue suit and he got dark hair. That's him. On modern televisions, yeah, that's somebody else. Yeah,
you can't. Yeah, really. You're like, oh no, you're not fooling me. Yeah, WrestleMania. Santo, I would like to try to do a watch party sometime with Santo. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. Some of like the early ones from the 60s, but he made some like it wasn't 100 movies, but it was some like in close to the 80s, like upper 70s.
Yeah, he made a lot. There's a lot of movies just of him. There was other wrestlers that did it too. Like Blue Demon has his own movies.
Mm-hmm.
The early, so I learned a few things. Like the early movies, I know we're talking about the Spirit, but the early movies,
El Santo, the Spirit, same thing.
Yeah, Spirit, Santo, wrestling, it's all related. The early movies are tougher because they're not always crazy. It's good to I find it's good to research a little bit to figure out which ones to watch because there's one Santo movie. The very first ones are he's like a minor character. He's not even, it's so weird. It's like he's barely in a movie. And there's one where, was that the very early? Yeah, one of the very first ones. It's like he gets hypnotized really early. They don't even explain who he is, by the way, either. They never explain it. And also,
well, he's the most famous wrestler in all of Mexico. You don't have to say who he is.
This is
true. Like if
really.
Dwayne Johnson arrives on the movie set, whatever character he's playing is secondary. That's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, it's like anybody would have known exactly who he was, but like his like place in this movie is never explained. Which is great. But he has very minor roles in the original movies, but some of the later ones he's got more stuff going on. Like there was one, it was like Santo versus the leper men or something. It's just these guys who are lepers. They're not really bad.
Lepers, not leopards. Or you talking
not lepers. They like have like leprosy. but they're not really the bad guys, which is funny. It's like these other guys pretending or something, and it's a whole thing. But it's like just kind of like a weird like Western. But the best part is like Santos like comes to this town and they're like, oh, he's like, all right, Sister Maria, whatever, I'll wrestle for the orphans. And so he goes up and he fights this guy to win this prize for the orphans, who's just a rando. He's just gonna wrestle. He beats this guy. Although Santos always kind of like loses at first and then wins. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he fights and he's like an investigator to help this Western town with these lepers that are running amok, but it's really these like other criminals. I don't know. It's hard to recommend the movie because apart from those scenes, it's not very crazy.
I love the scenes where El Santo is just like in civilian clothes, but he still has the mask.
Yes,
because like he'll show up on the scene and it's him like wearing an ascot and a leisure suit, like the whole bit.
I watched one just the other day where Santo and Blue Demon are with their dates. Right, they're eating at a fancy restaurant. They are dressed like impeccably, and they have their masks on. No one says anything. No one expects them to take these masks off.
That's the best part. Is like everyone treats us like, oh, that's just El Santo. You know what I mean? Like it's just him. It's just the guy.
Nobody says a word. Nobody questions it. Nothing. It's just like this is how this is. Hold on, what is him saying here? Wait. Yeah, it's true that his fist of death. There's like it could also be called like boating the movie because he just like there's a lot of scenes of like just like going through the swamp with like a little motorboat, like somebody steering and just like it's such a weird movie, but it genuinely is entertaining. There's a whole thing with like the Prince of China who is played by someone who is Hispanic. Vaguely, maybe he's only vaguely Hispanic. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But he wants to marry the jungle girl, but the evil witch doesn't want this because she wants to control the salt lamp. I don't remember. It's the exact plot, but it's really crazy. It's really crazy. It might be that they stole the plot.
I wouldn't be surprised if something was connected here.
Sure. Okay, so I guess we're gonna go through and read this a little bit, but yeah. So anyway, so deviate there to Mexican wrestling, but yeah, just really enjoyed the spirit. Really, thanks so much. I'm so awesome that you knew so much about Will Eisner, because I didn't know a lot of that.
Well, I just pick up random things here and there.
We do
My
pretty
favorite Will Eisner. This is a paraphrase of a Will Eisner quote, but there's a book that was put out in the 80s, which was transcripts of conversations held between Frank Miller and Will Eisner at Will Eisner's studio over a period of like 6 months or however long. You know, Frank Miller would drop in and see Will Eisner, and they'd record it on tape, and then they transcribed it into this book, talking about the industry and process and all this. And so they get to a part where they're talking about color in comic books, and Will Eisner just this is a paraphrase, but he just says, "Color is a gimmick." It's like, get it out of here. You know what I mean? Like, he says, like, that's just something they invented in order to like hype up books to sell them, blah blah blah, whatever. He's like, if it works in black and white, it works. You
You know what? And that's something that I actually feel that, because I actually really love black and white comics a lot, and a lot of times I'm like, yeah, this comic, it's like you put color on it to sort of make it like more attractive, but if you didn't have the color, it wouldn't be like, like the art doesn't always stand out without the color.
Yeah.
So,
the only art I've seen that without the color would be, it'd be detrimental to the artwork itself, really, is Mike Mignola. Like, he works so closely with the colorist on those books that like line work and color are like the same thing in a Mignola book. Other books, like the color, like I say, it's a little bit secondary. Like Xenozoic Tales, which is like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Oh, for sure.
I forget who the artist is on that, but he said it specifically, like, the image has to work in black and white, and then later it can be in color.
Yeah. Mark Schultz. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's also an amazing black and white artist, and I really like black and white comics. I really enjoy them for that reason. I know some people want color, but
there's some, like the Doctor Strange. The first Doctor Strange comics I read were those like Marvel, what was it called? Like Marvel Essentials or something like that. They're in black and white. So like I'm reading all these Doctor Strange comics in black and white. Like for me, that's what it looks like. When I go back later and read those same issues with color, I'm like, this is wrong. It's something distinctly wrong. But like for everybody else, the color is what makes Doctor Strange. I'm just like, like something's off here.
Yeah. I don't know. It just isn't always neat. I mean, for me, my first like real falling in love with black and white comics was like the Savage Sword of Conan stuff, and just reading those big, like this size print, and they were just so good. And it was like, this, just this really cool line work, and just, it was so evocative. And it's like, I don't know. I guess maybe it helps too that I grew up kind of reading, like watching black and white TV sometimes. Like, like color TV was around, obviously, but like you could buy black and white TVs and they were cheap. So I remember as a kid, I had a black and white TV that was like that big in my room, which was kind of cool. And after you watch a black and white TV for like 20 minutes, you forget that it's black and white. You just, you don't notice it anymore. You're just like watching the movie,
There's certain actors that like I've seen color photographs of them, but like it's like I imagine them mostly in black and white.
Yeah, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's like something's not adding up here. What's going on?
What's wrong with this? Okay, so we had that big splash page. I don't know if this is too close. It might be okay. It's big for the splash page, might be a little close, but it says mostly they're gone. Now the old trolleys, just a few still run, like the old Ravens Point line, for example. All day long, like drunken bugs, the creaky jalopies waddle their way through the noisy city, loading up morning crowds, which come back the same way at night. And that's such good. Just that little thing is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get to, I think personally, it's kind of hard to get comic book writing where it doesn't sound off when you read, like if you look too closely at it, sometimes it can kind of like, I don't know that it always works on its own. So I don't know. That's something I really like about Eisner.
I think it depends on where, like whoever's doing the script for it, whether that's somebody initially writing the plot and providing dialogue, or somebody coming in with dialogue later. Wherever they have trained their ears to hear dialogue, I think has the biggest impact. Because like Will Eisner read books. You know what I mean? This sounds dumb to say. He read books, and so that's where he trained himself to view words. Guys coming up later, which I mean, Stan Lee would have been working a little bit during the 40s or during the late end of the 30s and the wartime years a little bit. His ear was trained on radio. And you can see that a lot in stuff like Doctor Strange or
that makes sense.
You know,
you can hear it in just the way when somebody reads one of it, you can hear it. It's a radio.
That's why he uses so many words. Like there's so much dialogue in his Stan Lee book. It's because like he's trained himself storytelling wise with radio shows, and like a lot of I think to their detriment, a lot of writers now they've trained themselves on television, and like it's just not. People think that the closest analog to comic books is movies and television because they're both visual mediums. I don't see it that way. Like I think the closest analog to a comic book is just a book, a prose novel. You know, it's like it's a prose novel with illustrations, and the illustrations work with the words, so you use fewer words with more pictures. You know what I mean? Like, and there's this give and take here.
Yeah, that's actually a great point because I've long said that like people who enjoy Hellboy it's a good comic for if you're a reader, because I feel the story is very satisfying as a reader. It isn't just like image, and that's the whole reason you show up. It's like, this is like, as a reader, you're like, I really enjoy, like, if you like Pulp Fiction, you should read Hellboy. Like, even if you don't like comics, you're going to like it. You know, it's the story it's what you want out of those pulp stories is in those comics.
Yeah.
At least that's how I think.
And then the other half of it, like I say, like comic books is a medium of words and pictures. I mean, just like this page here with the variation and the angles of the shots and the way it varies up the page. That's another thing that like it happened then too, just because it's like it's easy to draw the same angle again and again and again, just so you don't have to think about what you're doing. Like you can fall into that by accident. I think a lot of people, like I say, they get trained on television. What's the cheapest thing to do in television? Is just use the same shot and cut, but you're always cutting between like the same 3 or 4 shots, and they're static. Whereas, like, if you're really thinking about it, like you can go from like this weird hallway shot to a bird's eye view to like way down on the ground, and whatever you need to sell the fact that this trolley over here is rickety rackety going around these curves. And you know, like you got this first panel, this long one, where the trolley's coming around the curve, and then the second one, you're on this canted angle to show that the whole thing's going lopsided. You know what I mean?
And you kind of feel that in the picture, and it also I can feel it.
But
like
if somebody who wasn't thinking through what they were doing, like, you just set the floor of the trolley 90 degrees with the page. You know what I mean? And maybe you swing these curtains or something, but you're still going to lose a bit of that momentum, right? Because like even here, I keep pointing at the screen as you can see.
I know.
With the way the track is laid out, where it's got it's the track coming from the right hand side of the panel, it's curving around to the middle and then coming right back around to the right. It's this whiplash effect on your eyes, and it all leads into that momentum of the trolley swinging over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's great because then you, like you say, you feel it, and because the panel is tilted, that emphasizes it. And I feel like to some degree he's doing that because I feel like Eisner did that because he enjoys it. It's he doesn't want to do the same thing over and over again. He's like, I don't want to, I can draw that, but I want something different. I want it. He like pushes himself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's awesome is like how much he pushed himself to like not do it the easy way every time.
And I think, I mean, not that I have him on call to ask him, but I think for guys like Will Eisner, there's like a certain amount of instinct in them that is built up through long years of practice. So like with him, maybe he could tell you why he did the panels this way. But I think just instinctually, like he's drawing this first thing of the trolley and he knows the kind of energy he wants to put onto it. And then just by instinct, he moves the rails that direction. And then this next one, he just, like in his mind, he just feels the car going that way.
Right.
And so he draws it that way.
Yeah, he didn't plot it out like, and then I'll do this. He's just like, and then it would be like this, and and then now it's like, you know, he's like kind of like puts himself in that trolley for a moment so he can,
like, he knows he wants this shot with all the characters sitting on the benches and everything, but then when he's drawing it, like he just like, you know, draws that diagonal there in the corner for the floor. And it's like, just without even thinking about it, just like, because I'm in the trolley right now and I'm leaned over, trying to hold on. You know?
It's great. It works so well. I guess we'll go through this series. I guess we're talking about that movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, Mark Schultz does some really great Conan stuff too. It really does. Hey, what's up, Brittle V?
Yeah, the Essentials line. I got a few here. like I said, I got some for Doctor Strange. I got some for Fantastic Four. That used to be the best way to get a lot of comics on the cheap, was the Essentials line. They don't do it anymore. Everything's moved to what is it? Marvel Epic collections, which are full color, glossy pages, the whole bit. But
yeah,
those Essentials were the thing. DC had their own version of that called DC Showcase, which I've got a few of those for Aquaman. And like, yeah, those are, if you could find them for the reasonable price, they're really good to have, especially if you're an artist and you're looking to study the line work of the comics. They're unbeatable. You know, like, because sometimes the color can interfere with looking at the technique of the inkers and the different.
Right. Yeah, you get distracted by the color, and you're not instead of looking at the line work, right? Mm-hmm. Looking at the line weight or whatever. Yeah.
Well, like if you have a color that's like deep blue close to black on top of the illustration, like it can make it difficult to see where the illustrator has come in and made the line work and everything.
Yeah. What it's doing to your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's one of those I want to find. It's DC Showcase for the Phantom Stranger, because like I was saying earlier, like Manly Wade Wellman wrote a little bit more than half a dozen of these spirit stories during the wartime years. Manly Wade Wellman wrote several issues of the Phantom Stranger, like during the 70s.
Oh, that's pretty
I
cool.
want to get my hands on those, but you can't find the book anywhere, and if you can't find it, it's outrageous what they're asking.
That figure.
Yeah.
I know I found some of that with some other stuff too.
Marvel Masterworks is good. Marvel Masterworks is a bit like the Epic collections I was talking about, except there's fewer stories and they're hardcover. They're more of a sit pretty on the shelf kind of books. Right. I'm envious. I really am. I'm gonna go up to Canada someday, and if somebody breaks into your house, it wasn't me.
It's nothing to worry about. I guess.
Don't worry about it. Don't forget I said anything. Just
All right. So
anyways, we want to get to this page, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, we're having fun. The trolley run. Oh, I guess I should read the page in front of me. The trolley runs from the heart of Central City to Ravens Point. Is only 1/3 twisted. Is only 30 twisted miles and can hardly be called a great adventure. And it's like clackety clackety clack, clackety clack. Oh, it's clackety clack, clackety clack, clackety clack. And so it gets that symbol, and you can kind of feel that in these panels. I don't know, they just feel like that to me.
Yeah, those
and then it says,
I'm saying like that sway of the image here.
Yeah, so we're leaning this way, and then now here we're leaning the other way, and these guys are just all over each other, and I love that. I love that it's just like he's like, oh, I'm just gonna have him sitting down. Like these guys get thrown around a bit. This guy's stumbling around.
Mm-hmm. Another thing here, this is a thing Will Eisner liked to do a lot. He's all the time experimenting with it and trying to like iron out exactly how to do it, especially in his later work. It's like there's no real solid panel border, and like that shows up a lot in his stuff where he's all the time trying to eliminate the frame between the panels. You know what I mean? Like some of it has to do with pacings. I think some of it has to do with like maintaining like a sense of space within the scene. I'm not exactly sure at every instance why he's trying to eliminate like what would normally be just like a hard line panel border or whatever. But yeah, that's the thing he likes to monkey around with.
Yeah, like not really. Yeah, just you can see it's like cutaway here, or even down in this panel, you can see it's kind of like wavy. I love that. It is great, and it does kind of it does make the flow easier. It makes your eye flow instead of that hard line where you just stop and it's like that. You look at that one thing, it just you kind of flow through the whole page. It's kind of awesome. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, and let's see. Until 3 a.m., the trolleys come and go, getting emptier and emptier as the night grows deeper. Then the last trolley, the 29 car, clatters through the sleeping metropolis, rattles noisily across Central River Bridge with its cargo of human flotsam, clackety clacks for the Ravens Point barns. From here until the end of the line, there are no stops. It's the dullest part of the trip. And then, of course, we get down here and somebody's reading a newspaper. It says, "The spirit murdered, body missing." No, I don't know if you can read the body missing part, but that's what that says there.
At this point, I think they should just assume there's no body, there's no spirit there. I mean, like, he's been around a while. He's been shot up a couple of times. I think like this headline's a bit presumptuous at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Somebody's trying to sell something. And then we get this. Oh, here's the guy reading the paper. It's good grief. And it looks like he's holding a handle, looking at this guy in the coat who's just like a pool of jelly. Leaning on this other guy. Why? Where'd you find him? And then this other guy, I guess his snore is something like that. Okay. Asleep. I've got to get off of here. I've got to get off here. I've got to off. I want off. So is that I guess I thought it was a handle, but maybe I don't know if he's pulling a thing to stop it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
so. It was an interesting little car just by itself. And I love this, like it's going through this like no man's land, out in the middle of nowhere, right? At night. Just really just strange. Just kind of like
Will Eisner's never drawn a body of water that didn't have a tire sticking out of it. Like New York native and everything. Like I don't think he's ever seen a body of water that like didn't have just trash in it. It's like in every scene that like somebody's wading through something. Like there's always like a picket fence and you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Just everything in here. And then no use. There are no stops till Raven's Point. And then the comic book cursing.
Sometimes that like I get why, but like sometimes that backfires because like my mind just like, what's the worst possible word that could fit in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just like a normal swear word. What? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Got to do it. I'm sorry. I must read down here. Got to do something. Got to think hard. Mister, would you exchange top coats with eek bottles, me top? And I'm not really sure I don't really know yet what he's seen here, but he is apparently very nervous about something. Bottles. Okay. Wake up, Mr. Officer, coroner, or whoever you are. That's Bottles McTop. He's the one I tipped off the spirit about. He robbed and shot his way out of the Central Trust. Hey, comic book exploited. Sound asleep. Don't hear me. So I guess Bottles is he's pointing right at the guy too.
Yeah, just so you know, it's right there.
If we're out in the middle of nowhere, I'm just going to say, that's him. Look, Bottles, I'm on your side now. I'll split with you. Yeah, I didn't really squeal to the spirit. Listen, I've got $100,000 buried out in Ravens Point. That's where I'm going now. Yeah, so we've still gone all this time, and the spirit is still not shown up, which is awesome. I was supposed to meet the spirit out here and show him the hideout, but now he's dead. He's dead. You and I can cut Killer Conch out of the deal, eh? Conch? Well, how would we say it? And then there's Killer. What was that?
I guess it's just Conch or
Conch. I
might
guess.
be Conch. I don't know.
Conch? Yeah, I don't know. I'll take either one. You pick. Oh, Killer! No. Yeah, this guy's face is great. I just love it. Somebody show it here.
There's $100,000 buried under a big W.
If you guys knows where it's at, hurry up. It could still be there. Okay, you got me. But before you shoot, listen to me, please. I'll tell you the whole thing. I killed the spirit. I got the idea Monday night when you and the killer gave me the automatic and told me to use it. I knew just what to do. I don't know why that was difficult for me. Did you want to read some of these, Levi? I don't know if you can. I don't know how you could.
I can take a crack at a couple of them.
Hold it still for
I might have the. Hold on. I think I might have it here in color. If I can find the right page.
Well, this is the Well, on page 8 for me, but that may not help you.
Is this one the trolley we were on? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like mine's shifted slightly, so like the splash page is a right-hand page for me, but here's the left-hand page. So, say last night before we were to crack the bank, I stole $100,000 and brought it out to Ravens Point. I used the old casually folded newspaper. Besides, I'm the head teller. Then I called the spirit at police headquarters and tipped them off. At the bank, I was registered as quite the hero. In fact, I saw you guys run smack into an ambush. It's a miracle you both got out alive. But the night when I came into my rooms, the spirit was waiting, suspicious of me. How did you give my information, Crawley? I've got to go. Crawley, my man, the jails are full of bank clerks who pulled what you did. Where's the 100,000? Very well. If you give me 24 hours on my honor, I'll get it for you. It's at Ravens Point. Fine. I'll see that you get a light sentence for being so helpful to me. Thanks. Oh no. Thank you, sucker. Now there wasn't a witness alive, so I came out here to get the dough.
I like how the spirit was so easily duped. it's like that's all it took. He's like, oh, okay, you're a criminal. Okay, thanks.
Well, that's the story. Well, say something. Oh, I get it. You're taking me for a ride. You're gonna kill me, eh? Well, the hanging's the same for one as it is for three. And then so we got the dummy down here.
Yeah. And then of course we see that one of them there's an Acme dummy.
It doesn't show up on the black and white, but here the dummy's outfitted in the blue hat and trench coat for the spirit.
Oh, the spirit. Okay, yeah.
Which I was thinking that it was him standing here the whole time, but I had forgotten.
Yeah.
He says, I've been tricked. Tricked! It was a dummy. I'll say you have, Crawley. Why, that's your gun, pals. No, hold on. Something's here. Not. Why, that gun your pal so thoughtfully gave you was full of blanks. The spirit, I'm going crazy. I can't stand this any longer. You won't have to. This is the end of the line. Ravens Point. And then Commissioner Dolan down here. Right on time, Spirit. We've got the ambulance for the killer and bottles. No need, Dolan. They got away from your cops in the traffic downtown, but not before they had stopped some slugs. They died shortly after I phoned you. In fact, Crawley, they were dead all the time you talked to them. And that newspaper was planted for your convenience. The dummy was just coincidence. At Ravens Point, the trolleys trundle into the threadbare barns where they rest till dawn, when, in the words of switchman Sam Smipple, they'll be a-running again tomorrow, and the day after that. I
forgot. Yeah, I remember it was just like crazy. He's like, he uses the bodies of the slave to drink him. There's just a dummy on the trolley. Like, and the spirit didn't even give him a gun with blanks. He didn't know there was a gun with head blanks. Still, it was too late. He just.
Like I said,
yeah, really. I should have done more. I don't know if I have a clickety clack in me right now, but
bang, bang.
Really? Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Just like all this weird coincidence. But it was also just like, I feel like to some degree, he was like, I want to draw this trolley going through the middle of nowhere. And this guy's paranoid. And I love that. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, it reads like a ghost story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like a Tales from the Crypt, or just something like that, where you're like, here's the setup, and the ghost comes, the guy gets his comeuppance from the bit. You know?
Yeah, I agree. It totally does. It's like, it's such a, the spirit's like, just comes in at the 11th hour or whatever the story is. Like, oh yeah.
Like, I had it all sorted out. Don't worry about it. Everything was going fine.
Take care of yourself. Crime doesn't pay. Yeah. This one's a little bit longer. This is the one that was color. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's this one has got, this is a little bit longer. It's still pretty good. So we'll do this one. This one might be a little hard to see. I'll pan down in a second. This is El Spirito, or the Spirit. So, and I don't know what the title of this is. It just El Spirito? Yes, it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how it's across. It's around again, like we were talking before. The splash page is around the corner, so the far side is in black, in shadow. I love that.
Oh yeah, there's some great ones like in the Darwin Cook spirit stuff. Like he had some great ones in there, just like the stuff like being like the columns of buildings and all sorts of wild stuff.
So it says the days of Spain's greatness. In the days of Spain's greatness, there sailed from the port of Dijon, I think it's Dijon, a soldier of chance, one Captain El Merto, in search of gold near the Azores, Azones, or Res, Azores. We'll try it. Everybody should know I can't pronounce anything. Befell with El Lobo and Fier. Boy, the front is killing me. Galleons, and their galleons sailed westward to Saragossa. There they parted company with El Muerto, heading south. El Lobo perished in the slime of Saragossa, and the remains of El Muerto's ship were washed ashore in Puerto Diablo 100 years later. I guess we get a nice little portrait here of El Muerto. And then when our story starts, I love it. This is like like you say, it's like I just love how all this comes together is so good.
Yeah, the story's incident on page 8. They're like, oh, there's gold here.
Yeah. And so here it says, but Juan, where did he die? This Captain El Muerto. It is said he landed in Montalbano, which we know is sunken isle 200 miles from Puerto Diablo. And then the spirit comes in. Innkeeper, my plane crashed. I'm the only survivor. Cough. Do you have a wireless to the mainland? We're just like right to 100. It's like
there's already been a spirit adventure going on. Like you just get
this is like the tail end of another adventure.
In all honesty, it probably like the when this was originally published in like say the 40s or whatever, like there probably was a spirit before this where he was in an airplane or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it may not have been quite so random as it seems to us.
Like if you're reading it week to week in the newspaper columns, like you probably like, oh yeah, I remember the spirit was going to South America to do, you know.
Yeah, this was happening. Yeah. See, I have a radios, but I do not think these very strong, senor. Show me where it is. I can handle it. Hurry. Captain El Muerto. Is it Que Hombre?
Que Hombre. It's what a man, you know. Like,
what a man.
What a man.
He's just thinking back there. Now, what were you saying, Don Pablo? I was not saying. I was thinking El Muerto was a devil of a fellow. OCC, I told you, is told how he found a wealthy tribe in the tribe of Incas on Montalbano, how he married the queen who chained him to her, silver chains, Don Pablo, so that he does not leave. Is that not like a woman? Is that not like a woman? All right. Let's see. One day, El Muerto tries to escape. The queen wakes up to find the chains cut. He screams, of course, and oi, the Isle of Montalbano sink like rocks. El Muerto will guard my isle for eternity, she says. Well, senor, to this day, I do not believe these stories. I believe this stuff. Good night. Cuentos
para los niños.
Cuentos para los niños.
Story. It's stories for children.
Oh, okay.
I'll just pause here a second.
You're good at this, Levi. I didn't know you have hidden talents.
No, like just pause here a second for these couple panels here, and like for some I see coming up. There's a thing about how artists, particularly like comic book illustrators, draw rain. That like it between artists, like it's very rarely do you have two artists that draw rain the same way. Like it's just one of those things that, strangely enough, like it's distinct almost. It's almost like a thumbprint of the illustrator. It's very hard to replicate the way somebody else draws rain. And like here, Frank Miller, I think, comes the closest to the Will Eisner style, but even then, there's some differences here that make it unique between the two men. Just something I wanted to point out.
And it's a good thing you point that out, because it is really cool how our figure here who's questioning is like blurred from the like the top where the rain hits him is blurred, and it does a great impression of rain.
Yeah,
then you have it looks like actual raindrops.
What almost becomes almost like a negative image. You know what I mean? It gets streaked a little bit. Is the way Will Eisner kind of approaches rain. Is like it's almost like this reverse of drawing, like you're drawing around the character instead of like actually drawing the actual substance of what the character. You know what I mean?
That's that's a really good point. It is kind of like that. It reminds me the most memorable thing of rain I can think of is Bernie Wrightson in Frankenstein, when he draws this picture of the wretch, and he's in the rain, and if you look, and it's like it's obviously raining, and I remember I would say to somebody like, show me where there's one raindrop in this picture, and it's like there's none. It's just like the way that he drew it, you could just tell that it's raining and like pouring. It's just awesome.
Yeah, he's just like somehow he's soaking wet, but you can't see the rain. It's something like I saw somebody do this. I was watching a video. These guys were comparing Conan comics, and what's the guy's name? Barry Windsor Smith. It was Barry Windsor Smith doing the same Conan story adapted from a Robert E. Howard short, and then later it was John P. Sima who did it in a different magazine. And it's the same story, and a lot of the shots were similar. Like they had similar sensibilities and like how to lay out the panels and everything. But the way the two guys drew snow was like worlds apart. Now, admittedly, like this was early career Barry Windsor Smith before he had really gotten established, like say at Marvel and other places. But just like the comparison there was like two different ways of drawing snow. Like it reads similar, but like there was like an attention to detail in the Buscema work that like made the snow feel like it had a different weight to it.
Right. It's so it is so cool because it's you think about the figure drawing as being like something, but something as significant as the rain can really do a lot, and it's the same thing. Like this choice about how to draw this something that's not part of the figure, but that the figure is in, it can be like can really make be played for good effect, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then he's saying, "Perdoname,
Senor."
I'll let you do this.
Excuse me.
Would you do me a favor? And there's a question mark here. Be kind enough to tell the stranger who is shipwrecked that Captain Manuel El Muerto wishes to speak with him outside. Oh, wise guy, eh? Believe me, I do not joke. And and here's this guy with this medieval. He's got he's right out of the painting. Mam muerta mia. And then it says, that radio is hopeless. I can only hope I got through. What's the matter with him? He's gone crazy. He says Captain El Muerto is outside to speak to you. Y visite el Captain Muerto. El Muerto.
He visto al Capitán El Muerto. Fuera desea hablar con el norteamericano. He visto el Capitán. Which Captain El Muerto is outside looking to speak with the American. You must see the captain.
You're awesome.
Listen, I know less about Spanish than I do about anything else.
Well, you know a whole lot more than me. Okay, we're back up here to this top panel. Oh, it says, what's the gag? Pablo says that Captain El Muerto wishes to speak to me out here. I'll let you read the part of Captain El Muerto.
Oh. Sí, Señor Spirito. I'm Capitan El Muerto, guardian of Montebaldo, which at this moment is being robbed of its treasure.
I don't get it. Who is El Muerto? Where is Montebaldo? And why do you pick on me? Come closer so I can see you.
You are on your way back to North America after an unsuccessful search for a criminal known as the Octopus, eh?
You have to read it like kind of bastardized
it's between Spanish and like dialect Spanish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. Yeah, keep switching back and forth.
You suspected he landed on an isle, but when you got there, the isle was gone, eh?
Yes.
You guessed correctly, for the isle was Montebaldo, and it sunk, but not before it was discovered that it contained untold riches.
You're really good at this. So,
Senor Crime Fighter, the octopus is quite alive, and with the aid of modern machines, is salvaging the sunken treasure right now.
what? Well, I still can't see why you want my aid.
Because, senor, I'm quite dead. And as you see, Shane, the legend about me is quite true. Luckily, because of your plane accident, you are at hand to aid me.
This sounds fishy to me. Look, Mr. Omarto, I'm no tourist to be taken in by...
See for yourself. I'll come quickly. My galleon awaits.
And then crack of lightning. Jumping fog noses. Hit by lightning and still stands. Okay, I'll go.
He's got the Superman pose with the chains on his ankles.
Yeah, isn't that great? Because
Did you highlight the comment down here by Keith Talzero?
Let's see.
The one about Redwind here. I looked into getting a Spanish copy of Redwind. They exist. The one that's most available to me is in Spain, and so like I get priced out a little bit on the shipping. I did think about it. Just kind of like to lighten up the next. It's like if I read it in Spanish for the next couple of weeks, that's almost like
that would count.
A new story.
It'd be interesting because you can see how it translated. Because somebody had to. That's awesome. That's awesome that you thought of that too. Okay, I'm gonna let you read all the dialect parts because you're just gonna do so much better than me, Levi. You're on. Okay, we'll do the I have radios, but I do not think he's very strong, senor. Show me where it is. I can handle it. Hurry. Captain. Oh, wait a minute. Did I already read this? Well, gosh, dang it.
We've got the whole page.
Well, I screwed up. All right. That was kind of a little flashback there, guys.
For those of you who came in late.
That's right. Here's a little sample. And moving on. 200 miles south-southwest of Porto Diablo, a small but well-equipped ocean-going tug wallows in a rolling sea. It rides at anchor while its donkey engine pumps air through lifelines to a diver who thrashes suddenly to the surface. And we've got a put. And it says, ugh, Castellente. Oh, no, I bet you better leave this one to Levi.
Castanet, my lines are fouled. Castanet.
Huh? And then she dives in there. Some great stuff. I love that picture of her diving into the water. And like I said, like the bubbles around her, which shows it to you. And a few minutes later, aboard the tug. Thanks. That was a close one. Look at this haul. 10 pounds of uncut diamonds. Old Monteballo is limitless. Octopus, perhaps we have enough. Maybe I should do this. Have enough. Now is 50 pounds of jewels not plenty? Is not plenty? We can come back again. No, I think not. Something very weird is connected with that sunken isle. Every time I go down, an accident occurs. This time, I'll get to the throne room and... Look, a boat. I did not see it coming up on us. Or maybe it was creeping up on us.
It's a ghost boat. Davy Jones.
Davy Jones. I'll take this.
You want me to take the voice of the diver as well?
Go for it. You can do whatever I'll let you. I'll share for sure.
I'll take this magnetic mine and go down about 7 fathoms. You stay here and talk them off. If they get too nosy, tug on the line 3 times, and I'll let this float to the surface and blow their ship to toothpicks.
See, hurry. I understand. And so, approaching the tug with eerie swiftness, good grief, Muerto. Not until I saw this tug did I believe you that Castanet's on the deck. I know she's alive.
See, and from now on, it is you who must stop the octopus, for I cannot fight mortals.
Okay. And there we go. The ghostly galleon slips alongside the tug as the octopus starts to clamber over the side. The spirit! Hold on. Well, I'll just hold on, octopus. This time you will not escape me. Let's get some running. And oh, so, tripped ploff.
Isn't there like what's the word? Like Stan Lee had this whole bit like during the Marvel years when it was really taken off that like he said like the reason for the success of Marvel Comics was that, like they had these big heroic characters that like from the Golden Age and pulp era mold, like these big, strong jawed, broad shouldered guys, but they had feet of clay. Like they had just tons of moments of vulnerability and stuff. And it's kind of like Will Eisner before Stan Lee was in a position to put that knowledge to work. Like Will Eisner was doing the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. Not super experienced with Eisner, but I've really come to fall in love with him in the past few years. They always knew about him, but hadn't really ever read anything. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, Eisner somewhere has an adaptation. I think it's of Moby Dick that I want to get my hands on at some point. But like, yeah, he's got. There's not so much of his work. Like, there's a lot of his work that will only ever be seen in Army archives, which is a shame. But like, yeah, there's some good stuff to get up there.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Once in the past, Senor Spirit, I saved your life. I take it if you interfere or try to
caught his airlines.
Caught his airlines. I thought it was one word. I'm like, oh, I'm struggling with this one. I have no time to argue with you, Castanet. Another diving suit. That's all I need. He's just pulling his hair the whole time. I got your airlines. I don't think so. This is a self-contained air tank type. I'm going to bring the octopus up alive. Let's see. I want to see what he looks like before I get him to the police. And then Castanet's, no, I'll...
Lentamente, señorita Castanet. Do you think the octopus would be so loyal with you? There are many diamonds here. He will not share with you.
And we say, who? Aye, you are almost ghostly.
Precisely. Capitan El Muerto, your servant, señorita. Now, no doubt know of the legend that surrounds me. It is quite true.
Is a lie. You are hijackers. It is a trick. I kill you.
Hardly.
Madre.
Madre.
That's it, right?
Madre mia.
I love how crazy all this is. Like all the adventure that's already happening in such a short time.
This fan on the top left here. He just resigned. It was like, I guess I gotta wait.
Yeah. And it says, I am not dreaming. Tell me I am not mad. You cannot be a ghost in bright daylight.
Oh, but I am, and I wish I were not. For below us, the spirit is fighting a battle I would join if I were not a chained ghost.
Let me get this great. I love that. Like the lines going into a pool. It says, and indeed, 5 fathoms below, which that's pretty far down. 5 fathoms, isn't it? Well, wait. I'm thinking of fathom is something else. No, it's deep, but it's not that deep.
All I remember about fathoms is this one Gilligan's Island joke where Gilligan has to dive to the bottom of the lagoon to investigate something. And when he comes up, the professor asks him, like, how many feet is it down to the bottom? He's like, Professor, we don't measure things in feet. We're Navy men. We measure things in fathoms. He's like, how many fathoms is it? It's about 5 or 6. He's like, how much is a fathom? Oh, it's about 16 feet. Whether that measurement is true, I don't know. You can't base it.
Right, I don't know either. It's great though. Yeah, so here we go. They're fighting these suits. I like too that we've got now these figures fighting in these floppy suits. So the figures are all like having this like knife battle and it's all floppy. They're not like tight-fitting like SEAL suits for the show off musculature and everything. It's just like this. It's
No,
just
it's
like,
like,
you know, yeah, I love that.
It's like two aliens or whatever, like coming out of the pod to fight each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so cool. The colors do really do. I mean, the artwork is great, but the colors do really kind of add some cool atmosphere.
Oh, I see. That's cool. It's got ebony in this picture. I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah.
I was not sure ebony survived the jump to the 1970s. Yeah.
There is. I think Ebony's in here in another comic too.
Yeah. I saw him on the back cover. I saw him, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure he would be on the interior stuff.
So let me get the boom here. Oh yeah. So I guess this battle, you know, the spirit. I guess he gets cut or something. Yeah, he gets stabbed. He's going to this, and then there's a depth charge. Boom! That blows up. Oh, we're having some bad experiences there. Let's see what it says here at the top of the panel. During the early hours of yesterday morning, the Army radar monitor outside of Central City Harbor picked up what appeared to be an approaching vessel. When it failed to respond to the routine radio calls, a patrol boat was sent out to intercept it. They found nothing. I can't understand it. Guess the radar was off. A few minutes later, on Pier 55, not far from there, a dock patrolman found the limp body of a badly wounded man. It's the spirit, McNabb. Wow. We better get him to the police hospital at once. Call Commissioner Dolan. Why does it have to be a police hospital, I wonder?
Well, I mean,
Like, oh, we can't treat police here.
he's essentially police personnel. You know,
Yeah, really, you know.
in essence.
Sure. Well, I guess they can't just take the spirit to a regular hospital. They might take his mask off or something. They might know that he's not a real
at
ghost.
this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. This morning, after an anxious night, the doctor says you're okay, spirit. But after that ghost story you told me, I think you're delirious el muerto indeed. But Dolan, I'm not kidding. I checked your story up to the air clipper crash. It's Hoyle. The rest is easy. It's Hoyle? It's Hoyle.
I don't know if they're still publishing it, but there's like a book. It's Hoyle's rules for card games.
Oh, okay.
So like the expression "everything according to Hoyle" to say that everything's by the letter. So
okay. Like by the book, yeah. So okay, I get.
According to Hoyle.
Well, that is a nice little tidbit I did not have. I would have thought like I guess it's some other reference to another character. That's
yeah,
funny.
he's maybe not the first, but he was one of the most prominent people to publish rules for common card games, so that everybody had a common reference. So it was like, okay, in poker, like what are you actually trying to accomplish it, and stuff like that.
Didn't even pick up on it. You were probably picked up by a kind smuggler who left you on the dock simply because he wanted to avoid questions. Sure, I'll give it to him. Shh. Or should.
So, it's Ebony was written
well, he's
very
a character.
vaudeville, very vaudeville.
Right.
Oh, it's the ghost.
Yes.
Thank you, Ibano. Tell him also Castanet has joined me.
Okay.
I can't be trusted to do Ebony's voice. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Mr. Spirit, a man outside with a beard and a funny costume, give me this ring for you. Said it was a gift and gratitude for saving the treasure of Monteballo. He said Castanet done what man? What corridor is sealed? Only one could get through, and passing through here would let me read that again. Only one could get in without passing through here would be a ghost. Only one who could get through without passing through here is a ghost. That's the right pacing for that sentence. Exactly. Wow, a genuine Inca setting, just like the one in the museum. I'm glad he's so familiar with Incan settings.
He's an educated man, this Commissioner Dolan.
For sure.
He's not your common copper, you know.
Now, what's so exciting about that? I ask you. Get a glass of water, Ebony. Hurry. Oh, and I guess well, that's the end of the story. Because I think that it goes to this advertisement.
That's fun.
Hey, well, I guess what's some of this? I ask you. I don't know why that matters, but it probably did. I tried to think.
It's kind of like like I say, the ghost story thing. I guess Will Eisner just really liked ghost stories, but that's a common point on ghost stories. It's like you have all this stuff happen,
And at the end, you need like this little, button on it to say like, oh, maybe it really did happen.
Yeah, really.
It's almost here, like you literally just see the ghost. Talking to Ebony.
So that was pretty good. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. I love the adventure in that one. I'm gonna pull this down over here.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, because there's Ebony.
I got this book here, The Spirit Femme Fatales, which it's collecting more of the prominent Femme Fatale stories where like the villain is a woman or whatever. And some of those are like from the South America. Like there's this big South America thing happening in Spirit for a period, and then Ebony kind of disappeared a little bit after World War II. He kind of just dropped off the face of the Spirit section, and then a few weeks later they said he'd gone to South America in order to search for gold. So yeah,
I mean, it's just it's what it is. But usually I don't remember. I've not read a lot, but it never felt like, apart from like Ebony having a dialect, I didn't think it was ever too bad. Ebony was always a great character. Like character wise, was a good character.
Yeah, the thing, like I say, it's like we were talking about earlier, like where your ear is trained for words and dialogue and all that stuff. Like part of where Will Eisner is going to learn how to do comedy and character work and all this stuff is going to be from the media and stuff that's around him. And when you're a kid growing up and it's 1910 or 1920, whenever he was growing up in New York, that's vaudeville shows and like the minstrel shows and all that sort of stuff. So some of that's going to seep in to his subconscious and then seep out through his writing. But like you say, he never meant anything bad by it. I think it was just like this weird habit that a lot of writers had at the time, because like character wise, Ebony's a really solid character. Like he's honest, he has integrity, he's loyalty. Like, but also I think a little bit of that can be excused because Ebony is just a kid. So I think that shades a little bit of it more towards Will Eisner's favor.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. And like I said, Ebony is just a good character. He's a good person also.
Because that's the thing, like people writing Spirit stories now recognize this, and like Ebony is essentially the same character he has been, except cleaned up to get rid of a little bit of that vaudeville type stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if did they replace him with Sammy? Is that what it was, or?
Yeah, eventually Sammy would come in as like the kid sidekick character, which there is enough difference there. Like to me, Sammy was never as much of a character as Ebony was. You know what I mean? Now later on, like, well, honestly, most modern writers don't even use Sammy at all. To be honest, like, there's only been a couple places where I have seen him enter into the picture, but like most people just go right to Ebony because he's the strongest character of the two. You just got to kind of, take off a bit of that yard jockey type stuff.
Yeah, kind of the bad energy.
Yeah.
Which really, again, wasn't really even, because that's something I noticed too in reading it, is that it really wasn't. Here he is here in the cover. It was not usually like played like mean-spiritedly. Like, it's usually it's much more of an endearing portrayal than it is like an ugly portrayal. We'll put it like that.
It was like even with the dialect stuff. I mean, with the story we read first with the guys in the tram car using that like New Yorker dialect kind of stuff, and then like with the South Americans, so what easy to lead them at,
right, same thing, and it's
he's
just using
like dialect, but it's not pointed to like be a joke. It's just these are characters that are a little cartoony,
right?
Cartoon,
but everybody's kind of cartoony. I mean, you can so it's like it's just right.
I mean, even don't like the only character you could say that's played like completely according to Hoyle, right, is the Spirit. Like he's the only one who gets to like lay the lines out flat.
Right. Yeah, this was cool. So there's a bunch of these. I don't really know the arrangement, how they got to how this came about, or exactly, I think you were saying that like they said, oh, these are gonna be lost or whatever. So
I think it was that some friends of Will Eisner, he'd been looking into independent comics for a while because he was looking for an avenue to publish Contract with God. Because like he didn't think that like a normal publisher like Penguin Random House or whatever would publish a comic book. That stigma was still attached in the 70s, and so he's looking through independent means. And I think somewhere in there he got connected with a bunch of people in the indie scenes doing these underground comics, and just stuff got rolling from there. Eventually, he would publish Contract with God independently himself, just like through his own studio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I don't have that, and I really do need to pick it up. Just in looking through this, I was like, oh yeah, I need to get that. But I like I said, I picked up a bunch of them, and I was as a backdrop, I was using the Spirit Jam, which is just like some kind of a crazy thing. And this is a weird one too, because like I think there's this guy. I remember. I'll just show this part here. I won't show this whole thing because I don't know if we're gonna have time for. We're gonna do all that.
I
today.
spotted Cerebus on that back page. That's a
Yeah. Well, it is. It's a bunch of artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this map to the whole splash page in the back, and it says, I don't know if you can read that. Let me bring it close. It says the entire wraparound cover was designed and penciled by Peter, and the key. So who colored and inked it, right? And it has all these let's see, Eisner, Milton Caniff, John Pound, Peter Popolatsky, Dennis Kitchen of Kitchen Sink, Richard Corbin. So Richard Corbin's in here. So that's why it makes me think that Corbin was the colorist in that other section, which is just funny to me. And Leslie Carbona. Yeah, and this is just a great, and this is kind of fun too, because it's just like you've got like different people doing like this is I think this is maybe Dennis, maybe this is Kitchen doing, I'm not sure who's doing this section, but like these spirit stories, and they're all kind of like different artists kind of contributing.
Oh,
like
that's so
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
these jams, they're a little bit rare because like just the circumstances to bring them about is it has to be kind of specific. So the idea of like the comic book jams, there would be some noble cause that they're trying to fundraise for, right? So they put out a call, and then it might be just all artists and maybe one or two writers or whatever, but everybody gets a page, and like here's your page of the jam, have it turned in by this date, you know. And so you just get a bunch of superstar artists all up in a row, so that when you put the book to print, you know, everyone's like, well, I gotta buy it. It's got so and so in it, even if I wasn't interested in what's his name.
Yeah, really.
And yeah, you know, you end up doing a little bit of fundraiser for something. You know, it depends. There was one Marvel Comics posted jam in the '80s, which was for fundraising for famine relief in Africa. And Stephen King and George R.R. Martin are in it. Like they wrote X-Men stories or something. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's like at the very end, Dave Sims did some stuff. It was like the Spirit meets Cerberus is what it was. Which, or is it the Spirit fights Cerberus? It's like the thing is like it's so goofy because it's such a very minor little interaction. Right. Anyway, so it was just kind of fun. Yeah. But yeah, so it was just it was part of the thing. I'm like, okay, I'll get the Spirit Jam. So it was pretty fun.
It's a good one. It will never be reprinted. I can guarantee you that much.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, really. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, some of this stuff, which is kind of a bummer, but yeah, you know, it's like it's just what it is. It's just not going to happen. Can't get that licensing again, I guess.
No, you will never get all of these people to sign off on the same piece of paper ever again. Right. Especially since like I'm looking at this list. A few of these guys have passed on. Like I'm looking, most of these guys you can probably get in some capacity, but some of these they've passed on.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of cool to go through this.
This is a blast. I usually don't get a chance just for somebody to let me talk at length about this stuff, so I really appreciate it.
It was great. It's awesome. I would love to do this again. We should do it again. I need to do a little bit more for my presentation. Probably people have to let me know either in the comments here or with in the comments on the video, just like how it turned out for them to watch, because I'm kind of watching it, but my screen is big, so I'm not. You know what I mean? So it's like I did that read through of a Thorgal comic, and I thought, oh, that'll be fine. And then I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's tiny. I have to zoom in now. And I said something to News from the Gelding Jim. I said something to him. He goes, yeah. You have to find that out too the first time. You gotta you can't just like leave it like this. You have to be
push in on the well, it's difficult with this comic stuff because like you have each individual panel that you have to examine, but then like the balance of the page as a whole, and then the balance of the pages between the spread, like that's this whole another thing to it as well.
Yeah.
You know, like there's
So you need both. You need just kind of like when you actually hear reading it, like sometimes you want to have it big and open like this, and other times you want to be like way into that panel and really get in and look at all the detail work. So it's like, and one thing I noticed, I picked up a new this camera, for like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, the main camera I'm using does not do it, but this one zooms, like adjusts the zoom quickly. And it doesn't, where the old one didn't. If I did that, it would just be blurry now. So that's why I was like, I'm like, oh, I can't even do this. So it was like, I was like, oh, this would be really good for this. I should have bought two. Oh, well. They weren't that expensive. It was like $50. So it was nothing. So yeah, just a webcam. But yeah, we should totally do this again. Yeah.
I've probably exhausted my knowledge on Will Eisner and the Spirit. You'll have to do something else. But...
It was just fun to talk. And there's some other stuff that I know. Well, there's some other flip throughs I want to do. And thank you, by the way, everybody who showed up and commented. Thanks so much. And thanks, Keith, and thanks very much, Keith and Steve Walker. Thank you very much for showing up. I really appreciate it. It's good to know too that it was good. What was I going to say? But I've had so some of the other stuff I wanted to do is I've got an old issue of Heavy Metal that had this comic in it. That was like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was this really cool, like post-apocalyptic world comic that appeared, and I thought it was awesome. And then at the time I was like, oh, I want to see if I can find some more by this artist. And like, it was like someone from Korea. And it was like, no, I was like, I think at the time I looked and I could find websites in Korean. I think it was before the
I can't help you with that. That's
you're not gonna be able to read the Korean for me.
No, I can't.
We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So you have to find somebody else for that one. I can't.
Yeah, so I was trying to like look into it to get more, and I could. It's like I was like I don't even know. Like the website wouldn't translate it for me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh well, I tried a few times, but and it was weird too because like the artist didn't had like a single word name. It wasn't like a full name, so it was like only, you know what I mean. So it made it a little hard. And that name like brought up a bunch of other stuff too that was not related to comics. It was just like, I don't know, just like, you want to look at this stuff? I'm like, that's not at all.
Yeah, and then you have to know whatever the Korean word for comic book is.
Yeah, right.
Like you have to put that in, or else you're never gonna
right or something. I was like, oh. And so it became a task, but it'd be kind of cool to read through that. I don't think that there's a little bit of nudity in that, but not too much. But
yeah, well, Heavy Metal was gonna.
Yeah, it's Heavy Metal. So, but no, I totally love to do the Spirit and stuff again. Did this, so it was kind of cool. Thanks very much.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
I think we'll probably call it there. Thanks everyone again for showing up. I really appreciate it. Just kind of a thing I was just sitting around doing, and Levi was like, okay, fine.
I was like, I wasn't sure how much I was gonna actually have to say, but you know,
right. I was like, well, you're the expert. You're like, I think I had one back.
It's common. You wind me up, and I'll go on ad nauseam. Like, there's all the great thing about comic books, especially like comic book history and technique and everything. Endless, diversions and rabbit trails and stuff. Like if you don't know anything, you can just quickly say, like, well, this person connects over here actually to this thing I do know about. So you pretend like you know something just by changing the subject.
Yeah, that was something that when Chris and I first started doing lives, we found out that like you could kind of just like get us started talking about something, we just talk, and to the point where we had to like say we gotta stop. Like
some of those 4-hour live streams were.
Yeah, you're like, what do we? Yeah, like, it was like we have to stop because it was like we'd be like 3.5 hours or 4 hours in, and it's like we're on. I don't even remember what subjects we get. We get on like Heavy Metal or something like that, and I'm like, how did we get over here?
How did we arrive at this place?
Rob,
let's watch the playback and see where we've gone. Yeah.
How's it going, Rob? Yeah, we're getting ready to finish though. Did you have any Spirit factoids for us, Rob? Or we're gonna call it?
Oh, I was thinking about this because I want to bring this up just because I want other people aware of it and looking for these things. In the 1980s, there was a pilot episode filmed and edited for a Spirit TV show.
Oh.
Now, some clips of it exist on YouTube or whatever. Like it looks cheap. It's not good, but it exists for people to search for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
What I want to find is there's a vinyl record. It's like a 38 or something. That is the Spirit's theme song, written by Ebony. And like in certain stories of the Spirit, like when people walk down the street and they're whistling a tune or just like singing to themselves or whatever, 9 times out of 10 they will be singing the lyrics to that song.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's called Every Little Bug Has a Honey to Hug. And I think you can find the sheet music for it online through like images, but like as far as like the audio recording of it, no, I don't think anybody's ever put it up.
Oh,
as far as I'm able to find. That's the holy grail that I want to find, just so I can listen to it. You know what I mean? That's
really just to see what it is. It's awesome. Yeah. If I ever find it, I'll let you know.
Oh, I'd love to just listen to it at least just once, because like it's been plaguing me for years since I found out about it. It's like, where is this thing? Somebody must have recorded it and put it online somewhere. Best you can find is like a picture of, like I say, like the sheet music, the notation for it, which I think is on the back of the album, and then a picture of the album cover itself.
Oh, okay.
But,
let's see what they say here.
Yeah,
it's true.
I figured that out long ago immediately.
It's got the date. Oh, date right on. I've seen it all.
Oh yeah, the TV show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Jones. I forgot his name was Sam Jones, because Sam Jones, like, there's a connection there to another actor, but I forget what it was.
Oh, interesting. That's actually great. Yeah, you know, and something, and this is it's Hibbit, because I got interested in Spirit and I love the logo. I'm like, I wonder if I'm like, surely there's some Spirit merchandise out there, and this just isn't. It just isn't.
It's one of those things like the Spirit is more important to comic book history than most people realize, even within the industry, where you think like this knowledge would be at a premium, is like to know something about the Spirit. But like I said, the dynamic force of Will Eisner is enough to carry it on and get it reprints and get it new material, like say through Dynamite, or reprinted in hardcovers and all this sort of stuff. But like culturally, the world for some reason has forgotten about the most popular comic strip of the 40s. Like, it's bizarre. Like,
it is weird. Yeah, because it's like how big it was, and then it's just like
and just like what Will Eisner means for, like, even outside the Spirit, just what Will Eisner means for comic books, taking such big steps to make comic books acceptable to the public at large. The people he worked with in the industry, Jack Kirby, the legend that he is, got his start in comic books wise, got his start at the Eisner and Iger studios back in the 30s. Like, he used to come in and call Will Eisner boss. There's an interview Will Eisner did with Jack Kirby. Where is it? It's in this book, Shop Talk. And you can probably find the audio for this somewhere around. I know it's floating around someplace. He interviews Jack Kirby, and it's like 1980 and something, and Jack Kirby's still calling him boss. Like,
that's
you know what I mean? Like, just the number of people that came out of the Eisner and Iger studio that stayed in comic books just for the love of the game, and like just the different ways Will Eisner was working, like through his studio in Florida for all those years. And the man is bigger than the public at large gives him credit for, and even people inside the industry seem to have forgotten their history and where all this stuff comes from. It blows my mind that more people don't talk about him.
Yeah, I know, and not to, and the thing is too, is that's kind of what to do this to show is like it's still super entertaining. Like, it's not like you have to have a particular taste. Like, it's really just fun. You know, it's fun to look through. You know, that's something I noticed when I did that first flip through. I'm like, this is just so good to look through and just enjoy. I don't know.
Well, it's good stories, well told, and for that reason, they're timeless. Like, it never goes out of style.
For sure. So we'll have to do this again, I guess. Now we're locked in.
I suppose. Well, everybody meet up here tomorrow night, same time.
We're
gonna have a Santo watch party, and then we'll get into the Spirit.
We need to do that. I feel like we could with Santo because, well, maybe, but it's worth a shot.
Slip it past those old El Santo movies. Like, every YouTube channel going has uploaded at least one. So, like, I don't see how it could get flagged at this point.
They're all over the place. Yeah. Might be in Spanish. I mean, it may not be. We'd have to kind of figure out what's going on, but I think you can figure it out.
Yeah, I'll catch every 8th word and say, it's like, I think it has something to do with mummies. I don't know.
Probably so. Awesome. Thanks, Levi.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone who showed up. Appreciate everybody. Rob, hope you're having a great time out there wandering the earth. We're going to do this. We'll see you next time. We'll put it like that. Whatever the official sign out is, this is it right here.